Water in my nose, water in my throat, and a rope of my own wet hair wrapped across my mouth like the world's laziest gag. I couldn't scream. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even do the dignified thing and fix out. I could, however, think, and what I was thinking was, I am drowning in my own bathtub, and I did not run this bath. My hands found the rim. I hauled myself up and out of the water and sat there in 18 inches of my own attempted murder, coughing, dripping, hair plastered across my face like seaweed on a corpse. On the tile wall, in letters the color of a fresh wound, the message was still there. It had been there for a day. The eerie game Pure Land invites you to be among the 5th batch of open beta testers. Do you want to understand the meaning of life again, to truly live? Yes or no? I had picked no. I had picked no because I'd spent a day online reading about what happened to the people who picked yes, and the short version is that none of them are available for comment. Ever. I have no dead lover to resurrect. I have no blood feud. I have a failing shop and a microwave. I did not need to understand the meaning of life again. I understood it fine. It was fine. So I said no, and the letters faded, and I thought that was that. And then last night, something took my hands, walked them to the taps, filled the tub, and put my head in it. If you can't allow people to refuse, why paint a no on the door at all? Just to prove you're humane? The letters pulsed. The Pure Land is watching you, awaiting your choice. Cool, very cool. Love that for me. I sat in the cold water and I understood, with total clarity, that I had never been offered a choice. I'd been offered a formality, the kind of vote where they count the ballots in a locked room. Fine. I have a rule about people who corner me. If I can't win, I can at least make the win expensive and weird. So I looked directly into the glowing red text with the calm of a man who has already died once tonight, and I described, slowly, in the plainest possible language, with gestures, exactly what I intended to do to the abyss while it was busy gazing into me. The wall went quiet. The Pure Land is amazed by your provocative behavior and believes you are a natural-born player. You have volunteered to become a member of the 5th batch of open beta testers. Volunteered. It wrote volunteered. I want that on my tombstone. A panel unfolded in the air in front of my face, fluorescent gray, hanging there like a bad hologram. Player. Joe Wei. Editable. Editable. Right. I've been drowned, conscripted, and informed I was a volunteer, all inside 4 minutes. If this thing wanted a name, it was going to get a name. Ling Bao Tianzun. That nickname is already taken. Of course it is. The August Master of Boundless Paths. Naming successful. Perfect. Sounds like a man who has answers. Sounds like a man who did not just get waterboarded by his own plumbing. Then it asked me a question, and I could feel it grating me. What do you do when a female ghost attacks in the dead of night? I'd actually seen this one online. There'd been a whole thread. Normal people said run. Priests said exercise. Monks said deliver her from suffering. The romance readers said fall in love, because of course they did. I thought about the bathtub. I typed, I'll slap the female ghost across the face, make her kneel down and call me dad, and tell her there are no ghosts in this world. The panel sat with that for a second. Abstract. Then everything else came very fast. A special trial ground has been selected for the player. Enter the instance. Plongquan Village. Difficulty, S. Type, single player. Main Mission 1, survive 2 hours. Main Mission 2, explore the village. Main Mission 3, and I want you to notice the tone here. The Pure Land acknowledges the player's courage to challenge, and adds a new quest. Adds. Because I mouthed off, it added homework. Minimum 20% exploration or the quest is a failure. And then, at the bottom, like a wink, may the immortal Lord of 10,000 Dharmas grant you good luck. The bathroom folded up like a bedsheet. I was standing on a road, cold air, blue stone under my feet, and the stone was black-brown in long, dried streaks that had run downhill, dried, and been walked on. The grass by the road had the same stuff dried on the blades. The village gate hung half off its hinge, and the sign had slipped sideways so that the 2 characters, Yellow Springs, sat at a tilt, like a shop that had gone out of business in a hurry. Countdown. 1 hour, 59 minutes, 58 seconds. 2 hours. In a village that had that much blood on the road leading up to it. Here's the part I want to be honest about, because everything after this is going to sound like bragging. Standing there, before anything happened, I was scared in a way I've never been scared. Not movie scared, not haunted house scared. My body understood something my brain hadn't caught up to yet. Everything in front of me was dead, and it lived here, and I was walking into its house with a 2-hour timer and no key. Then something dinged behind my eyes. Host detected entering game instance. Cheat successfully loaded. I stopped walking. Please select one of the following 3 cheat options. 1. 100% bare-handed blade catch. When facing any type of sword, you catch the blade. Every time. 2. You're too beautiful. Within the coverage area, all creatures are forced to perform singing, dancing, and rapping. 3. I am your father. Specify a target, shout, I am your father, and the target becomes your son. This cheat is currently a test server version. Please use it with caution. I stood on a road covered in dried blood, outside a village full of things that eat people, and read those 3 options twice. The first one is genuinely good. Blade catching is a god-tier control skill. The second one is genuinely good. Mass crowd control. My mother no longer has to worry about my safety. The third one is a paternity claim. And I looked at the gate and I looked at the timer and I thought about the fact that the mission wasn't kill anything. The mission was go deep into that village and come out. You don't fight your way into a village. You get invited. Third one, I said. Cheat program selected. And I want to describe what happened to my face because it happened without my permission. I looked back at that collapsing, blood-soaked, half-rotted village and my expression went warm, fond. The way you look at a house you grew up in. Honestly, the place was a dump. In the real world, that's a top 10 poorest village. Somebody needed to do something about that roofline. Something rustled in the weeds. My head, where are you? The voice came out of the grass, thin and sharp, and it dragged on the ends of the words, and every hair I owned stood up at once. Now, the correct human response to a voice like that is to leave. Everyone who ever got dumped on this road heard that voice and ran. Into the village, out of the village, didn't matter. They ran. That's the normal reaction. That's the healthy reaction. I walked toward it. An old man stood up out of the weeds. Thin to the point of translucent, clothes in strips, right leg ending just under the knee in a mess that had never finished being a wound. His head was not on his neck. He was carrying it in both hands, at chest height, the way you'd carry a bowl of soup you didn't want to spill. He was asking that head where it was. I want to stress, I had prepared myself. I'd told myself I would see something horrifying. It did not help even slightly. Something in my chest went cold and stayed cold. The head noticed me. The eyes rolled around in his hands to point my way, and then went still with what I can only describe as surprise. A human who'd seen him and hadn't run. Human, it said, and the head tilted in his palms. Aren't you afraid of me? I shook my head, and then I said the words, I am your father. What am I afraid of? You could feel the question mark. He held that head out at arm's length and turned it slowly toward me, like a man checking whether his lamp was plugged in. Then his shoulders came up. Human, you're asking for death. And I want to record, for the historical record, that my next thought was, oh no. Because nothing had happened. No glow, no confirmation. The cheat had eaten my one good idea and given me back nothing, and I was standing 4 feet from an angry corpse with my hands empty and my heart going like a bird in a jar. There shouldn't be a delay effect, right? There shouldn't, Smack. He hit himself. He hit himself so hard across his own face that the head bobbed in his hands, and then he burst into tears. Father, I must have been blind not to recognize you. I stood very still. I had a son now. He was 70. He was crying. He was holding his own head. This is a concept level ability, is what I'm saying. A ghost took one look at me and threw out every fact it had ever known in favor of a new one. All right, I said, because I'd already decided to commit, and the fastest way to sell a lie is to complain about it. What's wrong with you? You're supposed to be a ghost. How did you end up in this state? Oh, he had a list. The village chief of Huangchuan village had decided he was easy to push around, so the chief had thrown him out of the village to fend for himself. He was too weak to fight back. He'd been living in the weeds, alone, outside, for years. Snot, tears, the head sobbing in his own hands, while the body wiped at eyes it didn't have. He was, in fairness, the single most pitiable thing I have ever seen. And while he was working through it, I was doing math. Because if the cheat works this well on a random ghost in a ditch, and if the village chief is the one who threw him out, then the chief could be my son, too. And so could everyone the chief answers to. I stopped seeing a ghost village. I started seeing a family reunion. Come on, son, I said. Dad will take you to teach him a lesson." He cried harder, happier. Somewhere in that ruined head there was a thought going, children with fathers really are the luckiest. Someone bullies you, and your dad handles it. As for why a 70-year-old ghost had a human father in his 20s, he decided, out loud, that this was a rude question and that anyone who asked it was being presumptuous. Who says a father can't be younger than his son? Prejudice, that's what that is. He put his head under one arm, pointed with the other, and straightened his spine for what I suspect was the first time in a decade. "Father, I'll lead the way." We walked into Huangchuan village together. The blue stone gave out and turned to packed dirt. Wooden houses, most of them leaning, a few stone ones, which around here meant money. And ghosts. Everywhere, ghosts, in straw hats bent over the loess, farming. Old ones, children, women hauling water. And under the big tree at the center, the single most powerful intelligence agency in any village on any plane of existence, 4 old women on stools, watching me walk past, already discussing it. Take away the part where everyone was dead, and it was a village. That's what got me. It was just a village. I kept my face calm and my breathing slow and my hands where people could see them, and I understood exactly one thing clearly. Without the old man walking in front of me, I would not have made it 10 meters. "By the way, Father," limb-missing elder had gone hesitant. "The village chief of Huangchuan village is a fierce ghost. I'm only a year younger than him, but my strength is that of a true demon. I wonder what you think." My heart did something unpleasant. Fierce ghost. That's a rank. There are rungs on this ladder, and the chief is standing higher up than the son I've got. There are probably 1 or 2 whole tiers between them. I did not break stride. "What's there to fear about a mere fierce ghost?" I said. "I can beat him like I'm beating my own son." Which was, technically, a plan. Limb-missing elder went quiet with awe. Behind me, I could hear him working it through. Beating a fierce ghost like beating his own son. How strong is Dad, exactly? He had, without warning, become the son of somebody important. He had become, and he thought this in those words, a second-generation ghost. He'd always looked down on the useless rich kids who coasted on their fathers. Now, though, Emma, it's really tempting to rely on your father's connections. We stopped at a gate. 3 stories, courtyard, a little stream, greenery. In a village where the roofs were held on with hope, this thing was a boutique hotel. I felt a genuine flash of resentment. My apartment is worse than this. I'm alive, and I'm losing to a dead man on square footage. Even in a haunted village, you can't escape the wealth gap. "Dad, this is it." The gate opened. An old man came out, coughing, gray skin, wrinkles, and liver spots, drab clothes, small, hunched, harmless. And the temperature dropped so fast my arms went to gooseflesh in a wave, and every animal instinct I own started screaming, get away from that right now, and I understood that if this thing decided to, I would come apart like wet paper. So this is a fierce ghost. And here is the genuinely stupid thing about me, the thing I've never been able to fix. Under the fear, coming up fast, was excitement. The exact feeling you get clicking a link you know you shouldn't. My body was throwing every red light it had, and I was leaning forward. "Old Joe," the chief's voice came out flat and cold. "Didn't I tell you you're not allowed to set foot in Huangchuan village again? Otherwise, I beat you every time I see you." His eyes slid to me and stopped, and something moved behind them. "Also, who is this human? How can you resist food that's practically in your mouth?" Limb-missing elder flinched, shrank, started to fold. Then remembered. He straightened up. "He's my father," said my son, with his entire chest. "Old Ghost Chen, you're in big trouble." "Huangchuan village chief?" He looked at the old man. He checked the old man's face for a joke. There wasn't one. The old ghost was completely, radiantly serious. A human in his 20s is the father of a 70-year-old ghost. "Pfft," the chief cracked. "Sorry, I don't usually laugh unless I can't help it." And then he laughed properly, and he laughed at limb-missing elder, and he did not look at me again. Not once. Humans wander in here every so often. Humans are nothing. Humans can't hurt a fierce ghost. So when I walked toward him, he didn't guard. Why would he? Smack. I put my whole shoulder into it. The sound was extremely crisp. "You ask who I am?" I said, following him around as he staggered. "I am your father. You little brat. You don't even recognize your own father?" And then I hit him a few more times on the back of the head because the first one had felt so good. Huangchuan village chief went from total bewilderment to crouched on the ground with both hands over his skull, yelling, "Dad, I was wrong. I didn't mean to." Limb missing elder. Stood there with his mouth open and his head held out in front of him like a lantern. The chief is also father's son, which makes me, by age, the younger brother of the Huangtuan village chief. Grass. I can't live with laughter anymore, family members. One of them is surnamed Zhou. One of them is surnamed Chen. They are now brothers. No wonder Dad was so confident. Beating a fierce ghost is like beating his son. That is exactly what beating a son looks like. I stopped. 2 sons. The chief got up, dusted himself off, and turned to me with an expression of pure filial devotion. Then his eyes landed on limb-missing elder, and he had the decency to look embarrassed. "Little brother," he cleared his throat. "It was your older brother who bullied you. I'm here to apologize. Don't worry, you're my brother. I'll get back everything you've been wronged for." Limb-missing elder, silently. "It seems that all of my suffering was caused by you. But then, how could a family hold a grudge overnight? And now he had a fierce ghost for an older brother, and a father of unknown and terrifying depth. And what more could anybody want?" Elder brother, younger brother, dad, in unison, both of them. And that's how I acquired a family. I filled in my backstory while they were hugging. I stole it wholesale from a novel I read in college. Powerful enemy, faked my death, fell into a long sleep, woke up decades later, and the first thing I did on waking was search everywhere for my son. Both of them believed it completely. Not because it's a good lie, because the cheat had already made it true, and their brains were just doing the paperwork. "Dad, let me show you around. Your son's the village chief here. My word is law. You can relax and enjoy your life from now on." I nodded like a man being given his due. Countdown, 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 12 seconds. Exploration progress, 5%. 90 minutes to see an entire village. Good thing I'd just been handed a tour guide who ran the place. We went up the back hill first, and the chief talked the whole way, a full account of his life, childhood to present. 3 children, 4 grandchildren, all of them working in the city and only coming home for New Year. His eldest was the successful one. His fierce ghost rank was thanks to that eldest son. "Man's a grandfather with an empty house," is what he was telling me. Then the trees opened up. The orchard on the back hill was green and thick and wrong. In the middle of it stood a tree so large it took the sky away, branches hanging down in curtains, and set into the trunk at about head height was a human face. The ground under it was bone. Some human, mostly not, mostly the bodies of ghosts, run through by the hanging branches feeding it. "Father, look!" The chief said it the way a man shows you his vegetable garden. "This is the ghost tree I painstakingly cultivated. Not only has it reached the dire ghost level, but after absorbing nutrients, it grows soul fruit. This fruit is very popular outside. Tastes excellent. Try it." He picked a white one and offered it to me with both hands like a treasure. I did not refuse. On the walk up, he'd given me the whole ladder, and I'd been memorizing it. Ghosts go. Wrathful, evil, vengeful, fierce, ghost general, ghost commander, ghost king. 7 rungs, and the higher you go, the smarter they get, which is a genuinely upsetting design choice. Humans get a matching ladder, 7 tiers of ghost controller. Tier 1 controls a wrathful ghost, Tier 2 an evil ghost, and so on up. What sets your tier is a thing called yin power, and here's the part that mattered to me. Humans can't cultivate yin power, we can only eat it, which makes every edible thing in this world a supplement. I bit into the fruit. It tasted like a peach, thin skin, pink, juicy, faintly sour at the end. It was, and I want to be clear about this, delicious. The player consumes soul fruit, strength +5, speed +5, spirit +10, yin power +300. Player has absorbed yin power ahead of time. Unlocking attribute panel. Strength, 12. The maximum for an average adult male is 10. Speed, 11. Mental strength, 19. Yin power, 300. Current grade, Tier 1 Ghost Controller. I stood in a bone orchard with fruit juice on my chin, reading the news that one snack had made me stronger than any man alive. Tier 1 already. Huh, that wasn't difficult at all. Then I checked what came next. Yin power 1000 and spirit 50 for Tier 2. I looked up at the tree. There were dozens of fruit on it. "This soul fruit tastes good," I said. "Let's pick a few more." The chief straightened up, and his whole ruined face lit like a lamp. Praise from his father. Any son would be proud. He picked 5 in a row and handed them over, and I took every one with a gracious smile, accepting my son's filial piety, and ate them walking. I did think about stripping the tree. I decided against it. Partly it would look unseemly. Mostly, I had 80 minutes left and a village to see. So we walked, and I ate, and the numbers went up. Exploration progress, 10%, 30, 50, 70. And the whole village watched us go past, because in a place like this, everyone is related to everyone. And here was the chief himself, walking a human around like a visiting inspector. A ghost grandmother called out shrill, "Old Chen, who's this human? He's got a big face on him." And the chief said, solemn as a funeral, "He is my father. Keep your mouths shut. I don't want to hear anyone talking about him." "He's also my father," limb-missing elder added. "We're brothers." Ghosts? I watched it move through them like a wave. You could see them typing the question mark. Especially the ones distantly related to the chief, because they were doing the generational math, and the math was coming out at great-grandfather. Their ancestor is alive. He's 24. He's eating fruit. Damn. It's a ghost story. Nobody said a word out loud. The chief's word was law, and everyone knew it. They just stared at us, an old man and his son, with their eyes wide open. I kept walking, and I kept my mouth shut. And yes, I thought about it. Standing there with 160 households in front of me, and a cheat that turns anyone into my kid, of course I thought about it. But I'd already made myself the chief's father, which makes me great-grandfather rank in this village. If I then went and became the father of the father generation, then either I slept with somebody's wife, or the man's got 2 biological dads, a father-in-law and a daughter-in-law. No matter how filial the son, that accusation makes him your enemy on the spot. I did not want blood on the ground on my first day. If you're going to be somebody, be the one with the highest seniority. Everything else is a lawsuit. I finished the last soul fruit. Strength 37, speed 36, spirit 69, yin power 1800. Current quality, second order ghost controller. 6 pieces of fruit. That's what it took. I'd walked in an ordinary man, and in 90 minutes I'd become something that could kill a bear with its hands, and the entire process had been a snack. I flexed one hand and felt what was in it, and had to actively stop myself from grinning in front of my children. What a wonderful game this is. Truly a pure land. My pure land. Dad, we've finished touring Huangtuan Village. I'll take you home to stay. Countdown, 21:46. Exploration, 80%. 80. 20 minutes. Are there any forbidden areas in the village? I said. Anywhere we can't go? Dad, look at what you're saying. He was almost offended on my behalf. There's no place we can't go, but there is one place we haven't been. He pointed northwest. There was water out there. That's the Luofu River. A family of water ghosts lives there. Years ago, that old water ghost competed with me for chief. After he lost, he moved over and won't let anyone near. He's really stubborn. The chief sighed, and it turned into a whole thing. Most people in Huangchuan Village are surnamed Chen and Huang. The Chen family is us. The Huang family came from him. Because of that business, the 2 families have never gotten on. And my heart went bang. Because the Wangs were mine. And if the Huangs came over, then the entire village would be my bloodline. Every last one of them. Not just a father, a grandfather. Come on, I said, take me there. I'll teach him a lesson. The chief blanched. Father, this old water ghost has a terrible temper. He's a fierce ghost like me. What if he gets hurt? Your father is still your father. I waved him off. I can beat him just like I beat my son. Behind us, limb-missing elder stopped walking. You could see him experiencing the exact sensation of having heard this before. The hesitation, the déjà vu, the slow turn of a head held in 2 hands. Emma, isn't this the scene when I led the way? Dad said the same thing then. Beating a fierce ghost is like beating your son. And then Huangtuan village chief really did become his son. Masaka. He remembered that the old water ghost was younger than him. Was he about to get another little brother? Father, how many illegitimate children do you have living abroad? The Luofu River sat in the far northwest corner, and it was dark red, and things with too many teeth turned lazy circles just under the surface. Dad, this is a good thing, the chief said, and he actually licked his lips. Called Luofu fish, tastes excellent and raises yin power. Can't compare to soul fruit for effect, but there's a lot of it. Pity the old water ghost watches it so closely, or I'd have offered you some today. A fierce ghost who cannot stop thinking about a fish. That's a review. I picked up a pebble, closed my fist on it, and felt the give. Then I threw it into the lake hard enough to lift water onto the bank. "You little bastard," I shouted at the river. "Get out here and greet your father." The water gathered itself, and something came up out of it and stood on the surface, bloated, robed in a red so dark it read black, streaming filthy water off every edge. Its old face went darker as it looked at me. "Human, are you tired of living?" It started toward the shore, and the whole lake started rolling in waves behind it. Heh, I was already moving. "Take a good look at who I am. I am your father. You're stubborn, aren't you? You're just spoiled. A beating will do the trick. If once isn't enough, then twice." I'd done this twice now. Somewhere in there I'd stopped being frightened and started enjoying myself, which is probably the single most dangerous thing that happened to me that day. I swung. This time I put yin power in it, because that's the other half of the lesson. Yin power isn't just a number that ranks you. It's the only reason a human can touch a ghost at all. No yin power, and it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're a lamb walking around introducing yourself. Smack. Bloated river spirit's first thought, as reported to me later, was that his father had died long ago. His second thought, on closer inspection, was, "Holy crap, that's my dad." He yanked his own reaching hand back so hard he nearly fell over, and stood there and took it. A red handprint came up on that bloated face. Getting slapped by a human is an absolute disgrace for a fierce storm. Getting slapped by your father is Tuesday. It is only natural for a father to beat his son. He could only endure it. "Father," he said, and covered his cheek, and made a small, pitiful noise. Somewhere behind me, the Huangchuan village chief's eyes were trying to leave his skull. Is this old man my third brother? The two of them had fought over the chief's seat for most of a century. They'd split a village down the middle, 2 surnames, 2 families, 2 generations of not speaking. And they were brothers. And the village they'd fought over was their own house. What is the point of their argument? The chief stood on that red shore with the expression of a man who has just been told the world is a giant makeshift operation. Limb-missing elder patted him on the shoulder with the free hand. His face, the one in his other hand, had gone thoughtful and knowing, like a small detective. Father must have been a bit of a womanizer. Affairs everywhere. Sons all over the place. If he hadn't been hunted down and put to sleep for decades, there'd be even more of us. 3 sons. Bloated river spirit, to make peace, went out and came back. With the biggest fish in that river, sliced it into sashimi and set it in front of me on the bank. I ate a piece. It melted. It was cold and clean, and it was, without exaggeration, the best thing I have ever put in my mouth. Consuming luofu ghost fish, yin power +5. I gave it a thumbs up. Clean and hygienic, 5 per slice, 30 slices of fish, call it 150 yin power per fish. Not soul fruit numbers. But that's not really why you eat it. Ghosts don't eat for yin power. Ghosts eat because it tastes good, same as anybody. I told you long ago, third brother, the chief was warming up. If you'd take the luofu fish out and sell it through the village, you'd make a fortune and the whole village would get out of this. The bloated old ghost curled his lip. Come on, your soul fruit only dares get sold to the surrounding villages. Take it to a big city and see how many people are tempted to swallow you whole. Don't think being a fierce ghost makes Huangchuan village strong. There are countless fierce ghosts in the cities. And I sat there on the bank of a red river with fish in my mouth, and I listened to 2 fierce ghosts explain that they were too weak to sell their own produce, and something in me shifted. Because this whole village was mine now. Sons, grandsons, great-grandsons, the works, and they were poor, actually properly poor. The kind where the young people leave and don't come back except at New Year. Leave this to me, I said. Your father has connections outside. I can set up a stable supply channel. I said it without a flicker. I had no connections. I had a funeral shop going under and a countdown clock. But the boast was already out, and to those 3 old ghosts it landed as confidence, because who would dare say a thing like that if he couldn't back it? Really, your father is still your father. His strength may have declined in the disaster, but the old identity, the old network, those remain. He can still thrive. They looked at me like I'd hung the moon. Countdown 0000. Congratulations, you have successfully completed the S-rank trial mission. The river went out like a light. I opened my eyes on my own floor, dry, warm, sunlight, the specific yellow of an afternoon in a city where nothing is trying to eat you. I sat there for a second and just breathed, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking, and I let them. Then the panel came up, and it kept coming. Huangquan Village walkthrough complete. Clearance time 2 hours, rating A. Exploration progress 100%, rating S. Achievements unlocked. 4, rating S. Father of the Ghost, legendary. You became a fierce ghost's father through unbelievable means, reigning supreme over the entire village, elevating yourself from a junior to a great-grandfather, and acquiring countless ghost descendants despite being a virgin. The Pure Land offers an abstract assessment. I want to flag that the game called me a virgin in a legendary achievement and then moved on like that was normal. A loving family. Epic. You successfully united the 160 households of Huangquan Village into one large family, renamed it Zhou Family Village, and helped countless lovers become siblings. Well done. Don't do it again next time. Lone Warrior. Rare. Single-handedly explored the entire village, experienced its local customs and the poverty of this ghost village, and vowed to lead it to prosperity. Even the saints are more compassionate than you. That one I read twice. Advanced Student. You advanced to second-order ghost controller in the trial zone as a newbie. Even a grasshopper couldn't jump that high. Final completion rating for Huangquan Village. S. Netherworld coins, 10,000. Attribute points, 10. Random item box times 2. Perfect level ghost contract times 2. Ignore rank difference when contracting a ghost, and avoid the risk of backlash. Mei Nang's soul point times 2. Legendary. Unconditionally upgrades an ability you possess by 1 level. I stopped on that last one, because down in the skills list my cheat had changed. The test server version had been absolute. Say the words, anything becomes your son, no conditions, no argument. The official version had grown a condition. I am your father, level 1. Effective when deterrence reaches 80 and the speaker shouts the phrase, deterrence 80, meaning, I now have to completely terrify something before I'm allowed to adopt it. They nerfed my paternity. I looked at the soul points, then at the skill, then back. Promote. I am your father, level 2. Deterrence 70. It worked. 8 of those and my cheat goes back to being a law of nature. I put the second one away. I had a feeling I'd need it. Then I opened the first item box because I'd been good and I deserved a treat. Red Dragon. Common. Women's items imbued with some exercising properties. I looked at what was in my hand. It had little wings. It had already been unfolded. I resisted with great effort the urge to press it directly onto the Pure Land's face. I did not open the second box. I decided I would bathe first, change clothes, burn incense, and wash my hands, and then approach it as an equal. This was absolutely not because I have bad luck. It's that I'd just come back from a dungeon and dragged some of the dungeon's luck home with me. While I was deciding this, on the other side of the world, the forum caught fire. Because the game had put a banner at the top of every regional board, and the banner said, "Congratulations, player Qiankun Genren has successfully completed the Huangquan Village dungeon in the newcomer trial zone in an unbelievable way, exceeding expectations and earning an SS level rating." I found out about this the way you find out anything. I scrolled. Holy crap, who is this immortal lord of 10,000 laws? The newcomer trial grounds is for new players, definitionally. This guy's a newbie? We've been crushed by the old guard this fast? Quick, check the dungeon leaderboard. They checked the dungeon leaderboard. Huangquan Village, difficulty S, and at the top, in gold, Qiankun Genren. Exploration 100%. Second place, a man called Wukong, 10%. Third and down, single digits. One of them was 0.2%, and they'd put him on the board anyway because there were only 20 names total. 20. That's every newcomer who has ever survived that village. Not cleared, survived. And the comments went about how you'd expect. Wukong was second batch, 4th tier controller. He commands a dire ghost level ghost. Even in his prime, he only got 10%. This Qiankun Genren is cheating. You overestimate Wukong. He's from the relevant department. He got special training. He went in as a 2nd tier already. That's why he managed 10. So this Qiankun Genren is also from the relevant department? A ringer? Very likely. Even if he is a ringer, 100% is insane. It seems the Pure Land is about to produce another unconventional monster. Meanwhile, in an office in my own city, the actual Wukong was on 2 phones at once. That immortal lord of 10,000 laws is really not one of my people. And how could I have the ability to train a newcomer to clear the S-level trial arena? He's a wild player, no doubt about it. Pause. Yes, this is not something I'm keeping to myself. I don't even know him. He hung up. He loosened his collar. He looked at a wall of private messages all asking him the same question, and he thought, with real feeling, one of us got 10%, and one of us got 100. Why would you think I trained him? Even I look at that number and think it's absurd. Then he did the professional thing and posted what he knew, because he's actually decent, which is going to be relevant later. There are two hardest places in Huangchuan village. One is the orchard on the back hill where the soul fruit grows. To get there, you have to get past the fierce ghost chief. The other is the Luofu River, where the ghost fish are, guarded by another fierce ghost. Impossible to approach. Conclusion. Even controlling a fierce ghost, even at tier 4, you cannot fully traverse that village. If anyone knows this deity, send me contact information. I'll pay a high-level item. Then he called in his assistant and asked how many new players had been added in May City. 9. One of them had walked into the local security department on his own and asked to join. B rank rating. Promising. A B rating means he's a promising talent, Wukong said, standing up. He's a big man. Standing up is an event. May City desperately needs someone like him. I'll go take a look. And then he picked up the roster on his way past, the way you do, and glanced down at 9 names. WTF. I'm told it was the highest-pitched sound anyone in that building had ever heard a large man make, because the immortal lord of 10,000 laws was on the list. May City, his city, the one he's responsible for. What's wrong? The assistant said, both hands over her ears. He pointed at the paper with the excitement of a man who has just found money in a coat. Immortal Lord of 10,000 laws. Are you sure you didn't misread it? You didn't misread it. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. He was out the door. Team Joe, where are we going? Find him. Search the entire city for the location of the Immortal Lord of 10,000 laws. Have every regional security department watch for anything unusual. New players can't control their own ambitions. Find him before he makes a mistake. What about the promising B-rank talent? Tell him I'm busy. I knew none of this. I was in the forum myself, reading a thread called An Analysis of the SS Level Rating of the Immortal Lord of 10,000 Laws, in which strangers reverse-engineered my afternoon with real rigor. Settlements 3 parts. Clearance time, completion rate, achievements. Surviving 2 hours is an A, so we can rule that out as the S. Exploration 100% is an S, no explanation needed. So the last S has to be achievements. And to hit S, there you need at least 1 epic and 3 rares. But in a 2-hour window, 3 rares is impossible. We speculate he got 2 epics. Conclusion. Holy crap, who is this god? He's so awesome. Below that, 100 replies of awesome plus 1. A man complaining that he'd spent 2.5 years researching strategies and exercising and still couldn't get an epic. Somebody diagnosing the entire thread with conjunctivitis, which is what they call it when your eyes go red from envy. And I thought, huh. And I typed into the thread as a normal user, why can't it be a legendary achievement? 2 minutes. Where did this newbie come from who is so ambitious? Do you know how difficult legendary is? Since the founding of the Pure Land, no player has ever achieved legendary. Not even the first batch of beta testers all have epics, let alone legendary, which is above epic. I see, I said out loud to my empty apartment. That's when I understood what I'd actually done. Somewhere across the city, in a villa, the young man who'd written that reply was leaning back, satisfied, having delivered a small lecture to an ambitious newbie in the exact tone of a man explaining the world to a child. New players should honestly go to low-level dungeons and farm items and stay alive instead of thinking about legendary achievements. That's not something you should be thinking about. Sent. Then, out of habit, he checked the ID of the person he'd just lectured. Everyone on that forum has cleared the trial zone. They're all colleagues. You never know who you'll be teamed with. His whole face froze. Qiankun Zhenren, you cannot change your ID on that forum. Whatever name you have in the instance is your name forever. Holy crap, is Lao Tzu lecturing a monster with an SS rating? Oh my god. Next time, I will check the ID before commenting. Under my one silly question, replies came in faster than the original post had gotten views. People asking to be carried. People asking who I was. People inviting me to things. The original poster edited his own headline. Breaking news. Immortal Lord of 10,000 Laws has apparently achieved a legendary achievement. I stopped reading and went to search for something else, because there was exactly one thing on that forum I actually wanted. Mei Nang's soul point. Nothing. Not one clear reference, not a single thread, which told me more than a thread would have. If nobody's ever seen one, then they only drop at SS and above, and nobody's ever gotten an SS. I also looked up perfect level ghost contract. Barely anything there either. A handful of people saying it's very rare, and one man with a standing offer pinned to a trade board. 100 million for a perfect level ghost contract. Face-to-face, cash on delivery, further negotiation if needed. I sat back. 100 million. Real money. For one. I had 2 in a box next to a novelty item with wings. 2 small goals, achieved by accident, on a Tuesday. I closed the forum. The countdown said 70 hours to my next match, and I found, and this is the part where I understood something had gone wrong with me, that I was impatient. Everyone else in that game is counting down to their execution. I was counting down to my next go. I spent the next 3 days learning what I'd actually walked into. The Pure Land showed up 5 years ago. It took a first batch of open beta players from all over the world, and the humans who survived came out able to control vengeful spirits and use game items, which is how the mysterious side of the world got its first crack of daylight. 5 batches now, and the recruiting is speeding up. The 4th batch cleared their trial 6 months ago. The 5th batch, us, is already through. Maybe 6 months from now there's a 6th. The invasion is accelerating. Everyone on that forum agrees about it, and nobody says it directly, and it's the reason none of them run. They know the dungeons are lethal, and they go in anyway and they grind because the alternative is being ordinary when the thing that's coming finally gets here. I read that consensus about 4 times. It's not a game community. It's a room full of people building a raft. The difference between me and them is that I have a cheat and they don't. That's the whole difference. I didn't earn it. I got drowned in a bathtub and given a lottery ticket. I was thinking about that when somebody knocked. I closed the panel and opened the door, and there was Xu Yue, my neighbor. 2 apartments on this floor, mine and hers, and she's the reason I've eaten a vegetable in the last year. Soft voice, flowered dress, the kind of gentle that makes people want to stand between her and traffic. Xiaohua, your sister Xiaomei is back today. Come over for dinner. She hesitated. Then she looked past me into my apartment, and I understood exactly what she was doing. She was checking for rope. Are you all right? I've noticed you've been staying home these past few days and haven't been to the shop. Did something happen? My parents died and left me a wedding apartment I don't need and a funeral shop I can't run, and it's been circling the drain for months, and I'd told her I was going to sell it. And then I'd gone quiet for 3 days, and she'd counted the days and come over to look for rope. Something in my chest went hot and stayed there. I'm fine, Sister Yue. You don't need to worry. That's good. Come and eat. Don't eat junk food all the time. It's unhealthy. She talked at me the entire way across the hall. At the table, the other sister had already started. Xu Mei. Where Xu Yue is a Jiangnan watercolor, Xu Mei is a corporate deposition. Suit jacket, heels, and a way of looking at you that suggests she's already priced your position. Xiaowei Ge, she waved a chopstick. I finally came back. Why are you only arriving now? Sister Xiaomei, the name Xiaowei Ge sounds like a eunuch. You can call me by my name. No, that's my special nickname. She frowned at me over the rice. Your body isn't very good. Don't worry about not being able to handle your girlfriend's demands in the future. You're still young, so it's not a big problem. I'll make you a fitness plan later. Xiaomei! Xu Yue went scarlet and got a hand over her sister's mouth. He's still a child. Sis, Xiaowei Ge isn't an outsider. What's there to be ashamed of? Then Xu Mei pulled the hand off her face and her voice changed, dropped a register, went serious. All right. Besides resting, I have something to tell you today. Things haven't been peaceful in Mei City. The security department is up to something big. They're looking for someone. Don't go out during this time. Wait until it calms down. Xu Yue's chopsticks stopped. Has a murderer escaped? I don't know. They say they're looking for someone in hiding. Observe anything unusual in your area. Report it promptly. Very mysterious. A time of great turmoil, Xu Yue said sadly to her soup. I ate and said nothing and thought about it. Mei City isn't big. It isn't small either. The main urban district plus 7 or 8 county-level cities under it. Getting every security department across all of that mobilized to find one person means that person is not ordinary. Which means it's about the Pure Land, which means it's a player, which means, statistically, it's me. Now, in a novel, this is where the protagonist hears about a killer in his city, decides to track him down personally, and handles it. I ate my dinner. I'm not tracking anything. I've got a countdown, and 2 beautiful neighbors feeding me, and a shop I need to not lose. Whoever they're looking for can stay lost. By the time I got back to my own apartment, the timer was at 0. Recruiting players. The room went to water. Ding! The Pure Land map has been unlocked. Welcome to the beginner's game arena. Enter the instance. Fusheng Hotel. Difficulty, A. Type, multiplayer, survival. Main Quest 1, survive 7 days. Main Quest 2, successfully join Fusheng Hotel and earn 1,000 Netherworld coins. Main Quest 3, the Pure Land has fulfilled the desire of some players who are eager to advance, so an additional quest has been added. Complete a promotion within 7 days. Final score determined by promotion rank. Note, remember your hunger level and sleep quality. Some players who are eager to advance. That's me. It says extra homework, and it means me. The game has learned that I ask for more, and it has decided to keep giving me more. And I hadn't decided yet whether that was a reward or a leash. I opened my eyes on a street. Cement pavement, shop signs, pedestrians. Tall buildings, cars going past too fast. For about 4 seconds, I genuinely thought the transfer had failed, and I'd wandered out of my own neighborhood onto a main road. That's how close it was. Not close, identical. I didn't enter the instance? 5 people had appeared around me while I was staring. A middle-aged man in a suit and tie, slightly heavy, with the settled air of somebody who wins meetings. A young man in a striped suit and a watch that cost more than my shop. A small girl in a school uniform, thin, nervous, clutching her own sleeves. A big, silent man with his arms folded, already scanning rooflines. And a programmer, black-rimmed glasses, plaid, and the 2 darkest under-eyes I have ever seen on a living human. The student girl had spoken. Everyone looked at her. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm so scared. Is this really a game instance? The rich kid in the striped suit curled his lip. Newcomers are such a hassle. What, this place doesn't look like the Netherworld to you? What do you think a real dungeon looks like? I've read a lot about ghost incidents. She said it in a small voice. I think dungeons should be deserted, desolate, dilapidated, and eerie, like the newbie trial ground, extremely bloody. So, you newbies just love to do useless work. And then he settled in, because he'd been waiting all his life for an audience. The Pure Land is another real world, and it's connected to the real one. Everything in it is closely related. What you're describing only exists in the newbie trial ground. In the primary game zone, dungeon locations are mostly modern. Don't be fooled by the normal-looking passersby. They're ghosts. They're just restricted by Pure Land rules and can't attack players at will. I filed that away, and I also filed away something else, which is that this guy was not a newbie. A newbie does not stand on a strange street lecturing. That calm belongs to somebody who's been through several of these and stopped flinching. The student girl got there too and went straight to flattery. Brother, you're amazing. You know so much. You're not a newbie, are you? He grinned. He'd been fishing for exactly that. Don't envy me. I'm not a newbie. The matchmaking in Pure Land is fair. Every dungeon is veterans plus newbies. You newbies get a few of me every time. Stop wasting time here. The middle-aged man in the suit had a cold face and a wristwatch he'd already checked twice. Haven't you noticed anything wrong? Aren't you hungry at all? Everybody stopped. To prevent accidents, I ate a meal before entering. Now my stomach's rumbling. This instance is deliberately keeping us hungry. If we get too hungry, the Pure Land may force us unconscious. You could watch it land on all of them at once. They'd all eaten first. They were all professionals about it. And they were all already hollow. And it was on their faces immediately, because they weren't thinking about food. They were thinking about money. Because to eat, you need Netherworld coins, and Netherworld coins are what you buy items with, and what you buy yin-raising materials with. And here was this dungeon, telling them they'd have to burn hard currency on lunch. Nobody had much. Not every dungeon lets you earn. A few hundred coins out of a single run is enough to keep a player happy for a long time. To put it plainly, they were so poor they couldn't afford to eat. A panel came up for all of us. Proceed to Fusheng Hotel and successfully start work. Time, 1 hour. Map below. 10 kilometers. If we run there, won't we get hungry even faster? The big man's first instinct was running, mainly because running is free. There's a bus. Striped suit was already at the notice board. Mission location's the second to last stop. Bus 303. Shouldn't be expensive. It costs money, the student girl said and pouted and looked at the road like she was considering the 10 kilometers herself. Only professional athletes run 10 kilometers in an hour. Of course, if your three-dimensional attributes are above 10, disregard what I said. He shrugged and went to the bus stop. The girl went with him immediately, then the programmer, then the man in the suit, after doing a quick sum on himself and evidently not liking the answer. Only the big man stayed on the pavement, stretching. And then everybody looked at me. Kid, you planning to run too? Striped suit sized me up and did not think much. Tall, slim, not muscular, decent face, obvious student. Certainly nothing above 10, definitely a newbie. I'd been distracted because the cheat had arrived. 3 options. Crooked Mouth Dragon King. When you give a wicked, crooked smile, you automatically gain the primary means of slapping your target in the face. Level completed. Your mission is now complete. You've cleared the level instantly. I bet your gun is out of bullets. When you say this, the target's attack is immediately nullified. I want to talk about the middle one for a second, because I sat and looked at it and my heart went sideways. Instant clear. Skip. Just leave. A copy exemption certificate. A speedrunning miracle. And I said no. Because I'm not here to finish. Finishing gets you a B. I'm here for SS and above, because SS is the only thing that drops soul points, and soul points are the only thing that takes my cheats back to what they were on the test server. And on top of that, I need yin power, and I need to contract a ghost, and I need to fill a certain small drum with a certain number of accomplices, and instant clear does exactly none of that. Also, this is a survive 7 days dungeon. You cannot finish early and get an S. If you could, everyone would carry an exemption item and print S ranks. The Pure Land wouldn't leave a bug that stupid, nothing more. I looked at the single most powerful convenience item I have ever been offered, felt a real pang, and let it go. The third one I also passed on, and that one hurt less. It's a genuinely excellent defensive skill, it just doesn't build anything. I choose Crooked Mouth Dragon King. Then I came back to the street, where 5 people were waiting to see whether the newbie could run. I looked at bus 303, cramped. And the inside was a mess. Blood up the seats and along the floor of the aisle in a pattern that suggested this was not a one-time event on that route. I did not want to ride that. I could also, at 40 plus in every attribute, run the 10 kilometers in under 20 minutes without breathing hard. I did not want to do that either. I stepped to the curb and put my hand up for a taxi. One stopped. The driver rolled his window down. Dead white face, sunken eyes, and a voice like a freezer door. My car never carries humans. I threw 500 Netherworld coins into his lap. Spirit chauffeur. He didn't react for a second. And in that second, behind that dead face, an entire tragedy played out, which he explained to me later at length because he turned out to be a talker. His first thought was that this human was insulting him with money. Did I think that just because he's a bottom-rung, wrathful ghost, he could be bought? How dare a human humiliate a ghost with money? His fists closed. He got out of the car. He walked around it. And then his posture folded up like a deck chair, and a smile came onto that stiff, dead face, and he opened the rear door and made a small, welcoming gesture. Guest, please get in the car. I, Xiaohua, will be happy to serve you. Because, and again, his words, he has a wife and children. He's weak, so bigger ghosts shake him down constantly. His daily take is precarious. 500 is 2 days' wages. Insult? If you can bribe him with money, let the insults come more fiercely. He enjoys being insulted. I got in the back and sat down on clean leather. Take me to Fusheng Hotel. Not far, 20 minutes. Please be seated. We pulled off the curb, and behind us the little sign on the roof flipped from empty to occupied. 5 players stood at the bus stop and watched me go. Between the bus and running, this guy chose a taxi. He threw 500 Netherworld coins at it. Is this a fool with too much money or a nouveau riche? No. You wasted 500 Netherworld coins for a slightly better ride? That's 500 Netherworld coins. not $500. If you'd told us you were this arrogant, we could have carried you there ourselves, you damned spendthrift. The student girl, quietly, in a small, confused voice. Isn't he a newbie too? Why does he have 500 Netherworld coins? I only got a B rating and 100. Neither the rich kid nor the man in the suit had an answer for her. Both of them were worth more than 500. Neither of them would ever have spent it that way. Then the 303 came, and the four of them paid 2 coins each and boarded a bus with sticky seats and a smell under the flat stares of the ghosts already aboard, and the envy was not subtle. Brother, said the student girl from inside the bus, wistfully, why don't we take a taxi too? It'll be just the right size for 4 people. Striped suit, internally, I still want to take a taxi. You think you're set in diamonds? They can afford a car like that. And that guy, isn't he a newbie? Why is he acting like this? Could one of the earlier beta testers be behind him? That shouldn't be the case. Why would anyone give away something as precious as Netherworld coins? Unless you have so much money you're desperate. But that's impossible. He sat on a blood-stained seat and felt genuinely, personally lost. I was in the back of a taxi with my head against the rest, asking questions. Are you very familiar with Fusheng Hotel? Guessed, eyes forward. That freezer door voice, but chattier now, because money makes friends. Fusheng Hotel is one of our landmark buildings, worth tens of millions of Netherworld coins. Humans often appear there. They know it very well. You've been there too? Guessed, how can a wrathful ghost at the very bottom afford such a place? A single dish costs hundreds, some cost thousands, and that place discriminates. Ordinary customers and members are treated completely differently. I thought about that, because for a ghost, food is food. All they care about is taste. For a human, food is yin power, and the more expensive the dish, the better the ingredient, and the better the ingredient, the more it moves the number. Strength 40, speed 40, spirit 72, yin power 2000. Note, yin power 5000 and spirit 100 to advance to 3rd order ghost controller. I wonder if the food at a 5-star hotel beats soul fruit. Then the brakes went on hard enough to put me into the seat in front. What's wrong? This damn beggar, the driver was suddenly furious. He'd rather die than give up his money, and he dares to try and scam me. I leaned around and looked. Lying in the middle of the main road was a beggar in rags with a comfortable little belly, one foot tucked artfully under my taxi's tire, wailing at a volume calibrated for maximum public attention. Even the Netherworld has staged accidents. Why would he try to scam a taxi driver? I said. Shouldn't he go after the rich private cars? It's only because I'm a taxi driver that he dares. The driver was near tears. Which of the ones who can afford luxury cars isn't a fierce ghost? If he tried it on them, they'd break his legs and nobody would stop them. That beggar's a wrathful ghost, same as me. Same level, no difference in strength. That's why he's so blatant. Right, the kind get bullied. In the Pure Land, weakness is the original sin. Dark Forest. There's order here, but not much. Sir, I'm sorry. The driver was already unbuckling. It may take longer than usual. I need to get out and deal with this. He's a ghost with principles. He took the money, so he has to do the job. I looked at the clock. If this turned into an argument, an hour wouldn't be enough. I'll take care of it. I got out. The beggar looked up at me with real surprise. A human, getting out of a taxi. Humans are poor bastards. Where does a human get taxi money? Well, unlucky for him today. Nobody's leaving under 1,000. I came around the car with the warmest, most concerned expression I own. Oh dear, I said. That's quite a fall. You definitely need to go to the hospital. Come on, let me help you into the car. Let's get it checked out. I'd feel terrible if you had lasting problems. And I got both hands under him, didn't mind the dirt, and loaded him into my own back seat. Spirit chauffeur, he watched this happen in his mirror. No, what are you doing, bro? You're there to solve the problem, not bring it back. Helping him up is a disservice to the professionalism of everyone who stages accidents for a living. If you didn't hit him, why did you help him up? Damn it, I found myself a living ancestor. If I'd known you were this much of a saint, I'd never have let you out of the car. He looked, in that mirror, utterly bereft. The beggar was also somewhat stunned, but he recovered fast because he's a professional and he's seen naive before. Don't underestimate the determination of a working scammer. Let's consider this a lesson for a fledgling human. We pulled off. The driver kept glancing at me in the mirror, wondering, as he later admitted, whether I was missing a brainstem. Knowingly hand money to a scam, twice. Is he really just rich and stupid? That was the last thought he had before the next one, which arrived when he glanced up again and saw, very clearly, a hand coming around from behind the old beggar's head, holding a small purple drum. I should back up one step. The second item box, the one I'd bathed and burned incense for, had given me a small purple drum with a human face worked into the hide. The grudge drum. Rare. A human-faced drum made from the fur of an unknown creature. It is said that if you get close, you'll hear a dull, thunderous sound, but this is a trick to fool children. Its only function is to absorb the resentment of the dead and transform it into a vengeful ghost. Tapping it does nothing. It's not a sonic weapon. It's a jar. And the netherworld is a place absolutely full of ghosts. And a ghost's resentment is heavier than a person's to begin with. And I'd been walking around for 3 days doing arithmetic about what a jar like that is worth, when you're standing in the world's largest supply of raw material. 1 versus 1 becomes 1 versus many. The beggar noticed the driver's face change, started to turn. I hit him with the drum. He went bwong. I hit him again, and a third time, because I'd decided that fists might not be enough, and I'd rather oversolve it. And because the drum turned out to be extremely well made. He folded. "Do you have a knife?" I said. "If not, a burlap sack will do." He had witnessed the entire thing. He was very cold. "What are you doing? What are you doing, a human being? Also, I am not a kidnapper. How would I have a burlap sack?" He had thought I was a saint. The person in his back seat was a bandit. He opened the glove box anyway and handed back a small kitchen knife, and, because he is fundamentally a chatty man, asked what I needed it for. I gave him a look. "If you're going to use a knife, you should use it to kill someone." Isn't that obvious? Then I did. I waited until the yin power went out of the body, and then I picked up the drum and let it drink. The purple hide darkened. A face came up through the leather, blurry at first, and then not. The old beggar, exactly as he'd looked, because he'd died in a state of total betrayal, and his resentment had gone off like a flashbulb. "That's not enough," I murmured. "The Changui should be able to show itself." I poured yin power in. The face pushed out of the drumhead, and then the shoulders, and then a whole upper body hanging in the air above it. Eyes empty, absolutely still, except the 2 hands, which were claws and which caught the light. That was his attack, his actual specific method, the thing he did with his hands. And now it was one of mine. I gasped, personally contributing to global warming. Because if the drum keeps the technique, then every ghost I kill is a move I get to keep. Kill enough, and I'm not carrying a weapon. I'm carrying a roster. Other people show up with a glow. I'd be showing up with a drum full of ghosts hanging off me, which is, admittedly, hard to explain socially. In the front seat, Spirit Chauffeur had gone a color. That expression is universal. It says, "You're more of a ghost than I am. Why don't you be the ghost?" I put the drum away and reassured him. "Don't be afraid. I was just running an experiment. A wrathful ghost is beneath my notice. I won't sacrifice you to the drum." Spirit Chauffeur. His lips moved. "Should I thank you for not liking me?" I wasn't comforted at all. "No, wrong. I've been misled. The issue is not comfort. The issue is that this human killed someone. Oh no. Killed a ghost. In my car. He'd witnessed a murder. He'd provided the weapon. He'd provided the location. He hadn't intervened. He was an accomplice. Should we report this? Is it too cowardly to let a human kill his own kind for 500 netherworld coins? What to do? I pulled out 20 hundreds and dropped them on the passenger seat. Consider these 2,000 netherworld coins compensation. Use them to wash the car and clean up the corpse. Oh, and I quite like your knife, so I'll buy that too. He looked at the money. His conscience wavered for approximately 1/10 of a second. Then the smile came back, and his whole face flushed with the specific joy of a man who has won a raffle. "Guest, you are too generous. Don't even mention helping you dispose of the body. I wouldn't mind if you stood on my head and pooped. Hit me. Throw money at me and trample my dignity. Ghost's conscience? Please. His moral floor lowers on contact with money. The customer's feelings are what matter. We can't give up money for dignity, can we? Don't worry, sir. Once I get you to your destination, I'll handle everything, and nobody will know." We drove on. His internal file on me, as he described it, updated in stages over that 20 minutes. Human, then holy mother, then ruthless bandit, then devil, then, finally and permanently, sugar daddy. Fusheng Hotel came up out of the street like an argument. Big arched frontage, modern, 5-star by any standard, gold in the lobby light, 2 security guards on the doors bowing to each guest with textbook service faces. For a second, I got that vertigo again, the one where you forget which world you're in. I waved the taxi off. He went from a standing start and left me a taillight, and I turned to the doors, and both service smiles went off like switches. Human, flat, unfriendly. This is not a place for you. You can't afford it. If you're here for a job interview, wait outside. I felt my mouth want to go crooked and made it behave. This place has taken discrimination to a fine art. Which, fine, but it also tells you exactly how low humans sit here. You can change cities. You can't change that. I walked past them. They both reached for me and both stopped because I hadn't said I was there to apply, and now they weren't sure whether I was staff or a customer. And the one thing a doorman cannot do is grab a customer. So they let me through, and then they watched me like hawks, waiting for me to fail to sit down so they could throw me out. I sat down. I picked up the menu. What's he pretending for? A human who dares spend money in a place like this isn't afraid of going bankrupt. Maybe he'll order a plate of dried peanuts. You know how those humans are. They scramble for food like hungry wolves. Sharing a room with people like that lowers our status. I read the menu. Dry pot pork intestines from a wrathful ghost grade beast, 388. Sizzling beef, dire ghost grade beast, top quality leg meat, 1688. Husband and wife lung slices, dire ghost grade, crisp and refreshing, 688. Red bean and goji chi boosting soup, rare medicinal herb, 488. Vegetable platter, 288. Even the cheapest ghost beast dish on the page was 300. If you converted these to raw ingredients, you'd pay a third less. This is a place for people who do not care. Upload all the items checked above, I said, and handed it back. The dishes came out, and they kept coming out, and the waitstaff kept arriving, and they filled my entire table, and at the door, the 2 security guards' faces went from smug to stiff to something close to grief. Even the cheapest possible order that fills a table like that is 1,000 coins. That's impossible. What gives a human the right? This is something even we can't afford. Meanwhile, I was eating, taking dire ghost grade beast thigh meat, yin power plus 100. Taking dire ghost grade ghost spirit, yin power plus 50. Consuming wrathful ghost grade large intestine, yin power plus 10. None of it individually touches a soul fruit, but there was so much of it, and it just kept adding, and I watched the number climb while the food was genuinely, unfairly good. Yin power, 4,500, 500 off tier 3. From lunch. I'm probably the fastest advancing second-tier controlled in the netherworld, and my entire method is ordering. Of course, the resources behind that are considerable. That one meal was pushing 3,000 coins. Add the 6 soul fruits and the fish, and I'd eaten tens of thousands of netherworld coins in under a week, which most players can only dream about, and which is, I decided, the entire point. Use resources to compress time. Skip the years. Catch the first batch players from behind. Get strong enough that the netherworld can't casually kill me. That was the plan, right up until a voice cut across the dining room. Is Fusheng Hotel letting just anyone in now? 3 tables over, 3 ghosts, demon grade, looking at me with the specific pleasure of people who have found an acceptable target. Both guards were there in a heartbeat. Guest, what's wrong? The 3 of them pointed at me, rudely, with a whole hand. We came to Fusheng Hotel because we valued its policy of not entertaining low-class people. Now a human is dining in the same room as us. I feel insulted. Besides, what ability does a human have to order that whole table? Why did your hotel let him in without verifying his identity? What if he's trying to dine and dash? And that got traction, because half the room had been waiting for someone else to start. Normally, humans keep their heads down and nothing happens. But someone stirred it, so now it's a show. The 2 guards were nodding along, because this was the opening they'd wanted since the door. They can't search a guest on their own initiative, but if another guest raises the concern, they can helpfully suggest verifying funds. And once they'd established I couldn't pay, the remedy wouldn't be ejection. They'd beat me to death and divide the meat. They came over and stood too close. Guest, as you can see, your behavior has already offended other guests. For the sake of your dining experience, please come with us to settle your bill first. I looked up. I smiled. And then the smile went sideways and split and became something else entirely. This meets the requirements for a face-slapping scenario. Congratulations, host. You have obtained a Fusheng Hotel Platinum membership card. Platinum membership card. Stores 1 million netherworld coins. I want to be honest about my reaction, which was not cool at all. My face fell open. 1,000,000. I reached into my right pocket, where there had been nothing 4 seconds ago, and there was a card in it. Crooked Mouth Dragon King, YYDS. At which point the heels started. Someone came down from the upper hall, light blue Cheongsam, unhurried, and the room's temperature dropped about 2 degrees ahead of her. Serious face. The kind of presence that makes waiters stand straighter without being told. What happened? The guards shrank about 4 inches. Manager, this human is trying to dine and dash. We're stopping him. She looked at them, then she looked at me and waited. I stayed in my chair. You're the manager here? Then Fusheng Hotel needs to give me an explanation. As a guest, I've been treated rudely. If you don't give me a satisfactory answer today, you can take this card back. And I put the platinum card on the tablecloth. I watched her face do something very fast and very controlled. The guards, who could not see the card from where they stood, kept going. Who do you think you are? Do you need our manager to give you an explanation? Don't you have any self-awareness about your own human nature? Shut up. She picked up the card. She turned it over. She examined it with the attention of a woman who has been told there are no platinum cards issued at this property because she checked, because that's the sort of manager she is. And then she handed it back to me with both hands. You are our most distinguished platinum member at Fusheng Hotel. Your needs are our mission. The room made a sound. Because a platinum card at Fusheng Hotel requires 1,000,000 Netherworld coins on deposit, and somebody explained that out loud to somebody else at a nearby table, and the number went across that dining room like a dropped glass. 1,000,000. A human. And the thing about depositing 1,000,000 into a hotel card is that it tells everyone 1,000,000 is not your limit. Whose young master is this? Could he be some demon king's chosen representative? And every ghost in that room turned to look at the 3 troublemakers and the 2 guards with an expression of enormous, delighted pity. They went after an easy target and hit a steel plate. Can you meet all my demands? I asked. Yes. No hesitation. Serving our platinum members well is the mission of Fusheng Hotel. Very good. I pointed at the 3 demon-grade ghosts without looking at them. Get these 3 out of here. I'm a bit particular about my dining environment. Not just any cat or dog can share a room with me. Their expressions went through several colors, because those were their words, verbatim, from 4 minutes earlier. So what if you're a platinum member? We're customers too. We paid. What right do you have to kick us out? The manager thought about it for under 2 seconds. 3 guests. I see you've eaten enough. Settle the bill and leave. Fusheng Hotel won't keep you any longer. You dare? Yin power came up off all 3 of them at once. Guests. Her voice didn't rise. Physical violence is not permitted inside Fusheng Hotel. She didn't move. She didn't have to. The temperature in that dining room drafted again, further, and this time it kept going. Fierce ghost? All 3 went pale in the same instant and left, and on the way out they got a good look at me sitting with my arms crossed and my whole face saying, "Sorry, having money means you can do whatever you want." Then she turned back to me and the cold went away like it had never been there. Honorable Platinum Member, do you have any further requests? Yes, I looked at the 2 guards. I even pay attention to feng shui when I dine out, I said with tremendous wisdom. I've found that these 2 have ominous signs. Once the hotel gets involved with them, bad luck will follow. Ghosts. What the hell kind of feng shui is that? Even if you want a reason to get rid of them, there's no need to use something that outrageous. That's just bullying ghosts at will. And it isn't a small thing either. If Fusheng Hotel fires 2 men for bad luck, their names are finished in the industry. The biggest 5-star in the district couldn't handle their aura, so who's going to hire them? That's not a firing, that's cutting off a livelihood. To be honest, it was too much. She didn't hesitate at all. If they offend our esteemed platinum members, they will be dismissed even if you don't say anything. Then, to them, without warmth, you are dismissed, and because of your offense, this gentleman has been wronged. I will report the matter to the shareholders. They slunk out. Sir, are you satisfied? I took the card back, and I sat there and thought about the fact that a cheat had just conjured 1,000,000 Netherworld coins out of a hostile sentence. Compare that to I am your father, which is powerful but parasitic. It only ever borrows other people's authority. This one creates, out of nothing. There are no weak gods at the conceptual level. And this one is a printing press. That's good. My name is Gao Fong. What's your name, sir? I looked at her properly for the first time. Classic Cheongsam, long hair and eyes that were a genuine ice blue, pale enough that they read as glass. Light makeup on a face that didn't need it. She had the particular stillness of someone who has been running a difficult building for a long time with no help. "Zhou Wei," I said, and put my hand out. "A pleasure. I'm very satisfied with your demeanor. Serving you is my job." Her hand was cold and smooth, and a good deal harder than it looked. Manager's handshake. The 5 players got there with 9 minutes on the clock, having ridden a third of the way and run the rest, and they arrived at the doors of Fusheng Hotel absolutely wrecked. "Damn it!" Striped Suit had his hands on his knees. "I knew the first stage of an A rank couldn't be that easy. If we'd ridden that bus the whole way, an hour wouldn't have been enough. Better to have run from the start and saved 2 coins. They were starving in the specific way the dungeon had designed for them. "Brother," the student girl said, "we still have 10 minutes. Should we eat inside Fusheng Hotel?" He curled his lip. "Based on my experience, the jobs we get here are cleaning or waiting tables. Also, we're human. There's no staff meal for us. Let's fill our stomachs first, or we'll be forced unconscious." He went into a convenience store and picked out a piece of moldy bread. 1 netherworld coin. "Brother," the student girl was appalled. "Do you have to be so hard on yourself? Is it really okay to eat this? We can chip in and get something a little cheaper." Nobody adopted her suggestion. The middle-aged man in the suit took a moldy bread. The big man took 2. "When newcomers enter a dungeon for the first time, they're all like you," the man in the suit said, without cruelty. "They know netherworld coins are valuable. They don't know why they're valuable. They waste the extra on unnecessary things. This dungeon has a hunger mechanic," the big man added kindly. "You'll be hungry again in a while. If you solve hunger with coins, your wallet won't survive." Striped Suit bit into his and made a face. "Also, the main quest wants 7 days and 1,000 coins. If you want to enjoy yourself, you have to work extra, and extra work in a place like this is just asking for trouble." So the student girl took a moldy bread, and the programmer took a moldy bread, and they described the moment they bit into it as the moment their lives ended. They ate on the walk and arrived at the entrance of Fusheng Hotel, and Striped Suit scratched his head. "Strange, where's that spendthrift? He came by taxi, he should have been here ages ago." Which was a fair question, since main quests generally require everyone present. Is that the young man?" The student girl was pointing into the lobby, where I was sitting at a table finishing a meal, with a waitress standing beside me, waiting to see if I wanted anything. I watched 5 people stop chewing at the same time. "Holy crap, brother, your style is a bit different from ours. Why can you, a newcomer, afford the things in there? The way you're doing this makes us look like beggars. I feel inferior." They came in anyway, after a few seconds, having stuffed a third of a moldy bread each into their pockets. "You finally arrived," I said. Nobody answered. The student girl very quietly picked up the menu from my table, compared it against the wreckage, and did the sum out loud without meaning to. 3,540. This meal cost 3,500. The other 4 made a noise. Because add the taxi, and this newcomer had spent over 4,000 netherworld coins on his first day in the instance. Their combined net worth would not have covered lunch. "You..." Striped Suit had gone mute. The middle-aged man had a complicated face, and then he asked a question that wasn't about the money. "May I ask what your game ID is?" "What's the meaning?" Striped Suit said. The big man stopped being indifferent and looked up. "For dungeons with new players, the usual combination is 3 veterans and 3 newbies for data balance, so he's undoubtedly a newbie. And among newbies, I only know one who could afford 4,000 netherworld coins. One who is so famous he's attracted the attention of the entire game community." "What?" Striped Suit's frown broke apart. "He's that? The immortal lord of myriad laws who got an SS in the S-rank rookie trial zone?" The room went quiet. I thought about it for a second, decided there was nothing to gain by hiding, and nodded. 5 people went cold down the spine simultaneously. No wonder they were so arrogant. They act like netherworld coins aren't money. That's an SS rank winner. The settlement alone was over 4,000. Plus, it's normal to splurge on your first real dungeon. And the food was chosen for yin power, so it isn't even waste. This is a great leg, still a golden thigh. and every one of them, at the same moment, arrived at the same thought. How do I befriend this person so he carries the team? The student girl in particular looked like she was about to attach herself to me physically. Striped suit was the strangest. He'd gone gray and started sweating, and it took me a while to work out why. And when I did, it was because he'd once written a paternal little lecture to a newbie on the forum, and was now standing 4 feet from him, praying the game does not display IDs inside instances. It doesn't. He got away with it. He did not know that yet, and it was visibly costing him. The heels came back. Are you here for a meal too? We're here to start our jobs, said the man in the suit. Gao Fang's face went straight back to business. There are indeed a group applying for waiter positions today. Come with me. I'm the lobby manager. Whether you officially join depends on your performance over the next few days. Then, counting. There are only 5 of you? Weren't there 6? I'm one of them too, I said. Gao Fang, her expression stopped working for a second. No, you, a platinum member with 1 million Netherworld coins on deposit, are here to do temporary work? What's up, young master? Are you here to experience the life of ordinary people? Want to feel the hardships of the bottom of society? Mr. Joe, she said carefully, we may not be able to afford you. Just calculate it according to the normal salary level, because I would genuinely rather not work. But Main Quest 2 requires joining, and Main Quest 3 requires a promotion, and a promotion requires being an employee first. There is no route around it. I came here for an SS. I'm not skipping a scoring category because I find aprons undignified. All right, since Mr. Joe is willing to condescend, we will naturally treat him with the highest salary. She recovered fully in about 1.5 seconds, which I respected. The position is waiter. Because it's temporary, the salary is 100 Netherworld coins a day, excluding meals and accommodation. If a customer complains, 30 is deducted each time. Of course, that's the normal treatment for ordinary temporary workers. For you, Mr. Joe, we can offer 3 times a normal waiter's rate, 1,000 a day. You can work any time, and if there are complaints, we'll handle them. You don't need to get involved. 5 players, triple butt. Their heads filled up with a single sentence. Your childhood and my childhood seem different. We're both human. We're both temps. Why is his package 10 times better? What exactly happened here before we arrived? The 3 veterans got into a huddle and constructed a theory, and I want to preserve it because it's genuinely beautiful. So this is how you solve the Fusheng Hotel dungeon. You consume a large meal in advance. This misleads Fusheng Hotel into misjudging your status, which causes them to drastically increase your salary and benefits. He spent 3,500. He got a job paying 1,000 a day. Over 7 days, that's 7,000. Net profit 3,500. Plus settlement, that's over 5,000 out of this run. Genius. This is a true genius. No wonder he cleared the S-rank rookie zone at 100%. We can't compare to this level of intelligence. I wonder if Mr. Joe is satisfied, Gao Fang asked. It was the ceiling of her authority. Anything more needed the owner. That's fine then. Very satisfied. 1,000 a day means Main Quest 2 closes on day 1. Then it's just survive. Most people would take that and coast. But Quest 1 gives me no score. Quest 2 does, and earning 1,000 is earning, and earning 10,000 is earning, and earning 100,000 is also earning. And Quest 3, the optional one, wants a promotion, from temp to staff as fast as possible and further if I can. Those 2 are the whole scorecard. So those 2 are the whole job. I had a shape in my head by the time we changed into the uniforms. The other 5 put theirs on with mixed feelings and started carrying plates. And I want to be fair to them here because it looks like nothing and it isn't. This is an A-rank dungeon. They were serving ghosts. Nobody knows which small thing will offend one, and a complaint is the good outcome. The bad outcome is that it loses its temper at the table and you lose an arm. Or everything. So they were carrying trays 4 steps across a carpet with total concentration and cold sweat down their backs. The first delivery went fine. They came back and let out a breath. Then Striped Suit looked around to see how everyone was doing. The veterans were fine. The 2 newbies were following instructions and not dying. Then he looked at me, and I was setting a tray down at a table, and every ghost at that table had stood up. They were smiling. They had their glasses raised. They were toasting me. No, we can serve ourselves. We wouldn't dare trouble young Master Joe. 5 players. Eat. It's one thing that his salary is different. How come even the ghosts are afraid of him? What did he do? If you didn't know better, you'd think he was the owner's son. It kept happening all afternoon. Every table I brought a tray to, the whole table stood up. Every time. Smiles, glasses raised, harmony between humans and ghosts, on display, in a hotel lobby. And the players could see the part I couldn't, which is that when I set a tray in front of a table of demon-grade ghosts, several of them went weak in the legs and took the tray out of my hands with genuine haste, because they could not stand to have me serving them for 1 second longer. Student girl, quietly, to nobody. Everyone on the forum says ghosts are ferocious and untrustworthy, that they see humans as food, that you should never provoke them. Now it seems that's definitely an exaggeration. They're so friendly and polite. If I didn't see their faces, I'd think I was in the real world. Brother, is the entire netherworld like this? Striped suit. He choked on it. Is it possible that ghosts are in fact ferocious and violent, and their attitude to humans is exactly as bad as advertised, and the reason this room is currently a wedding banquet is that there is something wrong with Joe Wei? This is not normal. If ghosts were this easy to talk to, the survival rate in dungeons wouldn't be 1 in 10. God knows what method he used to intimidate this many ghosts and turn himself into the center of the room. Not newcomers, not 4th-tier players, not 5th. Nobody gets this. He was still working on that when a customer stopped him at a table. A ghost wrapped head to foot in bandages, every inch. The only thing showing was a pair of narrow scarlet eyes, and though it kept its yin power tucked down tight, a little leaked, and the little was enough. Fierce ghost. Striped suit swallowed. He'd done 3 beginner dungeons. He had never stood this close to a fierce ghost. In the real world, that's essentially the ceiling of combat power for a small city. Is there anything I can help you with? Mummy Ghost produced a 10-coin note, and the kid's brain went straight to tip, because in the real world he tips waiters all the time, and there is something genuinely funny about a rich kid experiencing, for the first time, the other side of that transaction, from a ghost. Thank you for the tip, sir. I will work even harder. Mummy Ghost paused. This isn't a tip, that hoarse voice through the wrappings. It's my payment to you. I just saw that you seem to know Mr. Joe. You invited him here, so this money is yours. Stam, you misunderstood. That's so embarrassing. Also, you're a guest and he's a waiter. If you want to talk to him, call him over. Are you worried Joe Wei won't appreciate it? What exactly are you all afraid of? He came and got me anyway. You were looking for me? Mummy Ghost's whole register changed. Careful, almost deferential. Young Master Joe is also here to participate in this auction at Fusheng Hotel, right? I hope that when the competition starts, you'll go easy on me a little. I kept my face still. An auction at this hotel that nobody had mentioned, and it was an opportunity, because at that moment my entire arsenal consisted of a kitchen knife and a drum. If a real fight found me, I'd have no time to set anything up. I needed something that saved my life while I was still surprised. Also, I had 1 million netherworld coins in my pocket and nothing to spend it on. No problem, I said warmly. We still have to give Brother Quan a chance. He relaxed all over, because as long as I wasn't bidding against him, he was fine. And if I was, he did not fancy his odds. That's a man who put 1 million on a hotel card. Who knows what else he's got? Beside us, Striped Suit listened to this exchange with growing vertigo. An auction. Compete. How did those 2 words get attached to a player? Yes, fine, Joe Wei has the most money of the 6 of us. He has also spent it. 500 on the taxi, 3,500 on lunch. Call it 4,000 gone. Even if he has change, it isn't 1,000. With that capital, I don't even know if he qualifies to attend. What makes him capable of competing with a fierce ghost native to this world? And the truly maddening part, Mummy Ghost had visibly relaxed on getting my answer, which means he considers Joe Wei his biggest rival. It's over. The world has gone mad again. He told me later that this was the moment he decided to write everything down. At the end of the shift, the temps went off and the night staff came on, and that meant the 5 of them had to leave the building and find somewhere to sleep. The student girl did the arithmetic out loud, the way you do when the number is bad. We only earn 100 a day, no food or lodging. The cheapest hotel around here is 20 a night, so we're clearing 75 a day. We can't possibly earn 1,000 in 7 days. That's how A ranks are. The man in the suit had already accepted it. You can't clear them by following the steps. The rest has to come from overtime or side work. Fusheng Hotel's holding an auction in a few days, Striped Suit said. They'll need people to maintain order. The pay won't be low. An auction? There's risk. But it's their own event, so security will be comprehensive. Worth a try. The man in the suit nodded, then looked around. Where's the immortal lord of 10,000 laws? Hasn't he come out yet? Striped Suit's face did something complicated. I just saw that he booked the presidential suite for 7 days, paid 40,000 netherworld coins on the spot, and got several flirtatious looks from the female ghost at the front desk. The gap between rich and poor nearly broke them. 40,000. Is he using netherworld coins as real-world currency? Where did he get so much? Even with an SS, it's impossible for a player to have that much this early. It breaks the game's balance. How did he do it? That question, they told me later, is the one that stayed. I didn't know and didn't care. I'd checked into a suite the size of my apartment, showered off the day, and gone out to look at the netherworld at night. And about 100 meters from the hotel, the street emptied. Not quieted, emptied. One second there were ghosts going about their evening, and the next there was nothing at all. No lights in the windows, no sound. A city with the people scraped out of it. "Human, we've finally found you." 3 voices, behind me. "Didn't expect that, did you? We've been waiting here for most of the day. This time there's no second fierce ghost to back you up." The 3 from the dining room, kicked out at lunch, and instead of going home to be humiliated in private, they'd staked out the exit and waited 9 hours. I turned around and I felt my face do it before I decided to. You really didn't leave. Because honestly, of course they didn't. Get thrown out of a 5-star hotel by a human in front of a full room, and a smart ghost swallows it and pretends it never happened. An impulsive one lies in wait. And I'd known that when I did it. I did it anyway, because I had my own arithmetic. The drum was nearly empty. I wanted it full, and a ghost hunter achievement improves the settlement score. I stared at the 3 of them and let the smile go crooked. "Big brother, look." The one-eyed one pointed at my face, and there was panic in it. He started making a crooked face again. So what if his mouth is crooked? What's the panic? The ringleader was burnt. Not scarred, burnt, comprehensively, with no intact skin anywhere on him. "No, brother, you forgot? This morning, this human pulled out the platinum card after his mouth twisted. Now he's twisting it again. Could he have another trick? Do you think I'm stupid? After finding out his background isn't simple, why wouldn't I prepare? This isn't reality, it's the ghost realm. Even if he has bodyguards, they can't get in." Ghost realm. Noted. "I'm still a little panicked, brother. Look at him. He doesn't seem anxious at all. That crooked mouth is really annoying. Go tear his mouth open. See if he can still smile." The one-eyed one came at me without hesitation, and his hands were claws, and I could see from 20 feet that a strike like that splits stone. Here's my honest position at that moment. Without a real offensive item, one of those 3 kills me. Not 3, 1. But I had a cheat, and I was extremely curious what it would give a man about to be torn apart. Ding! The conditions for a face-slapping scenario are met. The host now possesses an epic-level item. The Grudge Drum, rare, upgraded, Thunder God Drum, epic. Thunder God Drum. According to the classic of mountains and seas, there is a thunder god in Lees, with a dragon's head and a human body. He drums his belly, and his skin is covered in purple dragon patterns. 1 strike can shake the soul and invigorate the blood. 2 strikes summon thunder. Note, the Pure Land is amazed by this suddenly upgraded item and is curious how you did it. Oh, and if you dare to strike it twice, you are definitely a Spartan warrior. I actually laughed. I'd expected the cheat to send me some kind of secret organization, men in suits arriving to bow and call me Dragon King. Instead, it reached into my pocket and improved what I already had. Simple, brutal, correct. The drum in my hand had changed, the hide gone translucent and shot with blue, and something inside it turning over slowly, like an animal in a box. I hit it once. Roar. The sound that came out was not a drum. It was a dragon with its mouth open. The one-eyed ghost stopped mid-stride and stood there like a switched-off machine, face empty, because his mind had taken a hit hard enough to disconnect his brain from his own nervous system. Shakes the soul. Confirmed. And the other half, invigorates the blood, happened to me. Strength 40 plus 10, speed 40 plus 10, spirit 72 plus 10, 10 points across the board, a full human maximum, stacked on top of what I already had, for free from 1 drumbeat. I moved, kitchen knife into my right hand. I was in front of the one-eyed ghost before he finished not moving, with small lightning going across my eyes, and I cut his throat. With 50 points of strength behind it, I took the head off completely. Thud. Blue light came off the drum and drank him, and his face came up in the purple hide with dead eyes and a thin howl, and the claws, his claws, were mine. The burnt one, who had settled in to watch a human get dismantled, missed the entire thing. By the time he understood something was wrong, his brother's head was already on the ground. This human is pretending to be weak while actually being strong. Second brother, attack together. This human deserves to die. and I stood there absolutely delighted because I'd just killed a demon-grade ghost head-on as a blank second-tier controller purely on stat buffs. The last two came at me with yin power up. The panel had said 1 strike shakes the soul, 2 strikes summon thunder. Today, I decided, I want to be Thor. I hit the drum twice inside a tenth of a second. Blue light went off like a flashbulb and the drum inhaled. I felt my yin power go, all of it. Nearly 5,000 points sucked out through my hands in under a second, like a whale taking in water, and I sagged where I stood, suddenly weak and short of breath. And there was an arc of electricity crawling around my hand. I understood, without being told, that I could throw it. "You two, help me try this move," I said. "If you can catch it, I'll let you walk out intact." His face went white. "Holy crap. How the hell can you even produce special effects? If that hits me, it'll be a miracle if I walk out. You lack martial ethics. With skills like that, why are you pretending to be a weak human?" "Second brother, don't be afraid. Charge. He's bluffing. It's obviously an effect. It won't hurt." He was retreating the entire time he said it. His second brother, who had correctly interpreted his brother's feet rather than his mouth, was already running. No ghost outruns electricity. 2 screams, and it was over, and 2 smoking bodies came down on the pavement, and in the last second of both of them, I could read the identical thought. Humans are truly despicable, pretending to be weak to take advantage of others. I stood there breathing like I'd run stairs, completely, comprehensively spent. "It's powerful, but the consumption is too high," I said out loud, to nobody, wheezing. "Nearly 5,000 yin power in one go, and it's still not enough. This isn't something a second-tier controller should be using." And I was thrilled anyway. 1 incomplete arc had killed 2 demons instantly. If I got to tier 3 or 4 and could actually pay the drum's asking price, I didn't know. That was the exciting part. The drum drank both of them, 2 more faces in the hide. Then, once I had enough yin power back to push, I sent the burnt one out. His soul body peeled off the drum head and drifted down the dead street to have a look around, and came back carrying something, a cracked bronze mirror. Broken bronze mirror, advanced. Once a personal item accompanying a ghost king, it has now lost its yin power through leakage. Its former glory is gone, and it has 1 use left to unleash the ghost domain. However, if you use it as a mirror, it becomes permanent equipment. Remember to also equip a comb. Using the mirror and comb together will make you the coolest person on the street. Number of uses, 1. So that's the empty street, a pocket world laid over the real one, identical in every detail, with the people taken out. Drag someone into that, and they never know how they died. 1 use, excellent. I stepped out of the mirror's coverage, and the city came back on around me. Lights, noise, ghosts walking, a night market's worth of nothing having happened. I went back to the hotel because I was drained and sore, and I wanted a bed. The doors bowed. The 2 female ghosts on reception greeted me at 90 degrees, and then one of them took my key card away for a while, saying there was a problem with it, and returned it with a small note stuck to the back, giving a room number in the staff dormitory. I have never had money before. I want to note, for the record, how quickly and how thoroughly the world changes when you do. The heels came down the stairwell. "Mr. Zhou, you seem to have been in a battle." Gao Feng had stopped 4 steps up and was looking at the state of my shirt. I didn't bother hiding it. "Remember the 3 that got thrown out this morning? They ambushed me." "What?" Her face changed. Not fear, managerial fury. It genuinely had not occurred to her that 3 demon-grade ghosts would be stupid enough to jump a platinum member of her hotel 100 meters from her front door. Did these 3 ever think about what happens after? "Mr. Zhou, tell me the direction. I'll go and bring them back, and you can do whatever you want with them." "No need. I've already taken care of them." She went very still. "Mr. Zhou, did you kill them? Or did I mishear? Did your bodyguards find and kill them?" "They're 3 demon-grade ghosts," I said. "Why would I need to rely on others?" Gao Feng. Her mouth opened slightly. "Yes, they were 3 demons. To me, that's peppers, easy. But for you, a human, that's a fatal threat." She has been in this business a long time. She sees humans regularly. She had never once seen a human with the power to kill a ghost, let alone demons, which are a rung above the bottom. This human is a mystery from head to foot. It makes you want to look closer. Which was, I would learn, the single most useful thing about her. She looked closer at things, professionally, and then she acted on what she found. That's the whole reason the building ran. Manager Chin. My right arm was throbbing from where the arc had lived. Does your hotel have a physiotherapist? I've done something to my arm. You're injured? And she was already moving, already solving it. I'll have someone from the spa sent up. Don't use the arm tonight. I did not argue. I went upstairs, and someone competent came and worked on the arm for an hour, and then I slept in a bed that cost more per night than my father's shop makes in a month. That's the whole story of that evening, and I want it on record because for the rest of the week people invented a considerably more interesting one. The next morning she caught me on the stairs. Mr. Joe, how was your stay? I am very satisfied. I'm glad. You're our only platinum member, and serving you well is our mission. Would you like breakfast? Besides the main hall, Fusheng Hotel has a VIP room on the top floor for members only. Shouldn't it be working hours? You're a platinum member. These privileges are prepared for you. The VIP lounge? And I was genuinely interested because I'd seen the regular menu top out at $16.88, and at similar prices, the yin power gain should be similar. I'll have to take a good look at that, because I'd noticed something over lunch the day before. The food downstairs raises yin power, and only yin power. It does not touch strength, speed, or spirit. And I needed spirit, badly. Yin power was nearly at threshold. Spirit was stuck at 72, and the gate wanted 100. Downstairs, the players were already in uniform. Where's the immortal lord of 10,000 laws? Has he stopped working? Striped Suit asked. Brother, the student girl said, it seems he earned 1,000 netherworld coins on the first day. So what? He earned 7 days of money on day 1, and now he doesn't work for 6? That's 6,000 he's giving up. But didn't he spend 40,000 yesterday on the presidential suite? Maybe he doesn't see it as a perk. Striped Suit, grass, damn rich people. I will never share the same sky with you. Then a female ghost supervisor came past, pointed at the student girl and Striped Suit, and said, You two have good looks. The VIP room is short-staffed. Fill in for a few days. 300 a day. Can I not go? No, this is a normal transfer. If you don't want to go, resign. Let's go. The top floor is glass on every side, all the way around, so that the people up there can look down at the city while they eat. It fulfills a specific desire. Both of them arrived and immediately looked at their own shoes, because every customer up there is a member, which means powerful or connected, or both. And to those people, tens of thousands is a lunch bill. Don't be nervous, Striped Suit told her, and he was lying. It's just a different room, same steps. Remember your process from yesterday. As long as you don't make mistakes, they can't kill you inside Fusheng Hotel. He was scared too. Nothing up there was below demon grade. Most were dire ghost level. He counted several fierce ghosts. The elevator opened. 2 came out. One was a hotel deputy manager, round-bellied, smiling in the specific way that means he's escorting money. The other was an old ghost, so thin he was mostly outline, sunk deep into his own face, in a very good black suit. He looked at the student girl, and his eyes came alive. You are human, aren't you? She shivered, and then she did the correct thing, the thing they train you to do, which is not to answer a customer's question, but to redirect it. She bowed. She put a smile on a white face. Sir, what can I do for you? He smiled back, and it was awful. And he turned to the deputy manager, who had been fawning on him all morning, and pointed at her. I want her to serve me personally. Is that all right? Of course, no problem. Their job is to provide excellent service to members. Great. Serve the food. Have her bring it to me herself. And he went and sat by the window. What are you standing here for? The deputy manager snapped at her, the instant the old ghost's back was turned. If you can't satisfy the guests today, get out. She went. She came back carrying the first dish, and she was doing well. She got most of the way across that floor. And then the old ghost, sitting perfectly still in his chair, stretched his neck out at her, opened a mouth that went back too far, and bit. She screamed and threw the plate. It broke. And the old ghost was sitting in his chair exactly as before, not having moved at all, because none of it had happened. Veterans had warned her about this. Some ghosts particularly enjoy eating people, and will use every method available to induce a mistake. Mostly because they enjoy the fear on a human face on the way there. She'd asked what you do about it. She'd been told, stay calm, and if you see a ghost move, don't believe it. She knew. Knowing is not the same as being 20 and alone on a glass floor. Hee. His voice came out delighted. This plate of ghost liver is worth 2,888 netherworld coins. You spilled it, So it's not too much for me to take your 2 legs, is it? And he was looking at her legs. Striped Suit came over fast and then stopped because he'd heard the number. He had 800 Netherworld coins, everything he owned, in this building that isn't one dish. He could run downstairs and try to raise it off the other players. He didn't have that long. You could tell by the old ghost's face that he had no intention of giving anyone time. He'd set the trap that morning, and he wasn't going to let the prey out of it over a technicality. Give me money or give me 2 legs. I'll count to 3. 3, 2, 1. 2,888, right? I said. I'll compensate you. I'd come up with Gaofang about 15 seconds earlier, and I'd needed about 4 of them to read the room. Broken plate, meat on the floor, girl the color of paper, rich kid with nothing in his hands. The student girl's whole face came apart with relief, because, and this is the funny part, she was thrilled that Zhou Wei was showing off again, since this time the showing off was aimed at her bill. The old ghost's expression went the other way entirely. You're human again? Who do you think you are, interfering in my affairs? Gaofang stepped in front of me before I could open my mouth. This guest, Mr. Zhou, is also a member here. If you want to attack him, then I can only ask you to leave. He blinked. A human. A member. Rare. But so what? Look carefully. He took a badge out of his jacket. Square. Lotus-shaped. Pinned it to his chest. I am a shareholder of Fusheng Hotel. What I do to a human waiter is none of a member's business. And I watched the room change, because everybody up there knew what that badge meant. Members are consumers. Shareholders are owners. However special a member is, he's still buying. A member does not get to tell a shareholder what to do. He was enjoying it now. Humans, now you know, you're just a member. You have no right to interfere, and I won't accept your proposal. And the deputy manager, who had watched a man set a trap for a girl and said nothing, chose that moment to become brave. Manager Chin, what kind of attitude is this? He rotted on her. The old gentleman is a minority shareholder with 3%. Perhaps before long he'll raise it to 5 and become one of the decision makers. What you're doing now is pushing him away. He'd seen everything. He was fine with it. He'd been working this old ghost for 2 weeks to get him to upgrade his membership, and that upgrade was load-bearing for his own promotion to lobby manager, and one human girl was not going to cost him that. Gaofang's brows drew in, because she'd hit an actual wall. Platinum member outranks member. Platinum member does not outrank equity. She tilted her head at me very slightly. The message was clear and honest, and I appreciated it. This is bad. You're losing. The student girl watched her face and slid down the wall to the floor, falling from heaven into hell, twice, inside a minute. Human, what are you still doing standing here? The old ghost was impatient now. Even a member cannot interfere with my normal rights, otherwise I'll report this to the other shareholders and file a joint complaint, and your membership will be cancelled outright. He's a platinum member, Gaofang said, one last try. That one did stop him for a second. Then, a platinum member. Even platinum members have no right to stop a shareholder, and his face filled all the way up with the specific joy of a small man who has, once in his life, gotten to stand in front of someone rich and be untouchable. I let it get all the way to the top, then I smiled, crooked. Ding! A face-slapping moment has been triggered. Congratulations to the player for owning 52% of Fusheng Hotel's shares and receiving a gold badge. Based on shareholding analysis, you are currently the largest shareholder of Fusheng Hotel and have veto power. Current shareholder ranking: Host, 52%. Drifting World Innkeeper, 30%. Second largest, 10%. Third largest, 8%. Note, all shares held by retail investors have been seized by the host. Zhou Wei. I want to be honest. I made a noise. Because the cheat had not conjured money this time. It had gone out into the market, found every scattered retail share of this hotel, and put all of them in my name. 52%, which is more than the man who owns the building. Also, and this took me another half second, that includes 3% that used to belong to somebody standing 4 feet away. It truly lives up to its reputation as a conceptual level capability, is one way to describe that. The old ghost had already started to move. Just a shareholder, I said, as if that makes anyone different. and I took a hexagonal gold badge out of my pocket. The room stopped. Fusheng Hotel's shareholder badges come in 3 grades. 4 sides is retail. 5 sides is a decision maker above 5%. 6 sides, in gold, means one thing only, and there is only ever one of them. Largest shareholder. He's gone mad. This world has gone completely mad. How could a human become the major shareholder of a hotel? Where did he get the capital, the connections, the information? What method gets a large number of retail investors to hand over shares? Even Gao Feng's composure cracked. She'd been standing beside a platinum member. It turned out she'd been standing beside the owner. "This is impossible," the old ghost's voice went up and broke. "How could a human like you be a major shareholder here? This is simply impossible." I looked down at him. "Nothing is impossible. My power is beyond your imagination." And then, because I'm not a good person, "Now, try doing one more." His face went from white to red and stayed red. He had not expected to have his own sentence handed back to him that precisely. More importantly, he could not do anything, and he knew it. Platinum member and largest shareholder is every buff in the building stacked on one human. A 3% retail holder does not go head-to-head with that. "I've messed with the wrong person today," he ground out. "You don't need to pay for the dish. I'll leave, okay?" And he turned to go, having already decided privately to sell his 3% the moment he got home and never see me again. "Wait." He stopped and did not turn around and said in a voice like gravel, "Is there anything else? I've already given in. Don't push your luck." "I acquired all the shares of Fusheng Hotel sold on the market," I said. 52%. The remaining 48 is jointly held by the owner and 2 other shareholders. I let that sit for 1 beat. "Where did your 3% come from?" The room detonated. Holy crap. Even after all this, there's another twist? Are his shares fake? Did he forge a shareholder badge? He actually dared to forge the shareholders of Fusheng Hotel. And he just happened to run into the one man acquiring every retail share in existence. This is a fake meeting the real deal. Spectral Senior. "Mark?" His head was buzzing. Because he had bought those shares. With money. Real money. He'd never have dared impersonate a shareholder. He'd have needed 100 times the courage. "Human, don't think you can act with impunity just because you have money. What evidence do you have that my shares are fake?" Dire Ghost level yin power came up off him, and Gao Feng moved a half step so that she was between him and me without appearing to have moved at all, and her eyes went cold enough that I understood, belatedly, that she'd have gone through him. I looked at the deputy manager instead. "Just check it. I heard you're the deputy manager here. Did you bring him in too? If you can't find out, you can pack your things and get out." He got a handkerchief out and mopped his entire face, and then produced a smile with about 40 creases in it. Yes, I'll investigate right away and give the major shareholder an explanation." He took the badge. He examined it properly, which nobody had ever bothered to do. Then he looked up at the old ghost with pure venom. "It's fake. This shareholder badge is fake." The floor erupted. He'd been defrauded. He'd bought forged equity in a 5-star hotel and worn it around the building for months, and everyone, including the staff, had believed it, and the only reason it came out was that a human he'd tried to bully happened to own the real thing. Awesome. This old man looks quite old, but he's bolder than an 18-year-old. If this gets out, Fusheng Hotel loses all face. "I was deceived too." He was frantic now. "I didn't know it was fake. I bought these 3% with my own hard-earned money. I had no idea." I wasn't listening, because he was Dire Ghost level, which is a rung above the demons I'd killed, which meant he belonged in the drum. "By fabricating shareholders and damaging the image of my Fusheng Hotel," I said, "you've already committed suicide." I took the drum out. Roar. He froze mid-explanation, panic locked on his face. Roar. 10 times louder. The drum lit blue, and small lightning started crawling across the hide, and I flicked the arc off my hand at him. He went over backwards, smoking, black all the way through. A thread of resentment came off him and went into the purple, and his face surfaced on the drumhead with the others. The room was extremely quiet. This human shouldn't be so bloodthirsty. He killed a Dire Ghost level ghost without even saying anything. MD, are we ghosts, or are you the ghost? Compared to you, we always feel that we're innocent and law-abiding citizens. I killed your client, I said to the deputy manager. You won't blame me, will you? Deputy manager, his mouth twitched. Bro, I'm calling you bro now. I'm just an employee. How could I possibly blame you? No, you're doing a great service to Fusheng Hotel's image. I'm incredibly grateful. He meant it too. He'd recognize the weapon. Not the drum specifically, the class. That's an offensive supreme-grade yin artifact, and a fierce ghost doesn't have one, and a ghost general might not either. That isn't something money buys. You have to know where to find it. Using it on a fraudster is like paying a parking ticket with a house. Across the floor, the student girl was sitting on the ground, looking at me with the expression of someone who has decided to owe you her life, and Striped Suit was standing there with his mouth open, doing math he did not enjoy. If he wasn't mistaken, that was an epic-level item. Epic items are the only reason a human player kills above their weight. Why would a new player have one? Epic items are extremely rare even in the real world. In Netherworld's terms, that's a supreme grade yin artifact, the top of 4 grades, and most players top out 2 grades below. Rare items are luck. Epic is barely a category, and this newcomer pulled one out at the start of the game, an offensive one, the most sought after kind. Is he insane? Or is the world insane? Also, what is the situation regarding the largest shareholder of Fusheng Hotel? Does that mean he owns half the building? Is this something a human could do? You're cheating, aren't you? He was extremely close to correct, and it was not going to help him at all. I went and sat in a private room, and Gao Feng came with me, and I got a good look at what my morning had actually bought. The VIP menu starts at 1,000. The most expensive bottle on it is 100,000. Besides raising yin power, I said, what else do these do? Because that was the whole problem. Yin power was nearly at 5,000. Spirit was at 72, and the gate was 100. All the yin power in the world doesn't advance you if the spirit number won't move. She went down the page with a fingernail. Foods that increase special attributes are very rare. This braised sea eel uses the belly of a freshly caught dire ghost-level giant eel. Delicate texture, layers of fat and lean, fragrant but not greasy. Consuming it increases your strength slightly. This jumping ghost shrimp uses the leg of the beast. Fresh, not gamey, increases speed slightly. And this blood ginseng and mushroom soup uses a whole dire ghost-level beast in a rich broth, simmered with a large amount of rare ghost herbs. It invigorates the spirit. The vegetable salad is also good. The vegetables are ordinary demon plants, and the milkshake, she named the source of the milkshake, Zhou Wei, it seems like some strange material has been mixed in. Let's do it all once, I said, and did not ask a follow-up question. 10 minutes, expedited. The delivery was made by the student girl and Striped Suit, who set 4 dishes in front of me one at a time and read the prices upside down as they did it. Braised sea eel, 5,888. Steamed ghost prawns, 4,888. Blood ginseng and mushroom soup, 6,888. Vegetable salad, 3,888. 21,552 Netherworld coins. For breakfast. Even a 5th-tier controller would have been stunned by that page. They become numb enough that they just set the plates down and left. Consuming dire ghost-level dark sea giant eel meat, strength +3, yin power +100. Eating demon-level jumping ghost shrimp, speed +2, yin power +50. Drinking the mixed mushroom soup, strength +1, speed +1, spirit +3, yin power +100. Consuming special milkshake, spirit +1, yin power +10. And I sat there chewing and got, genuinely, a little annoyed. Because none of it, not one dish, not the 6,000 coin soup, moved my attributes as much as one soul fruit had. A 20,000 coin breakfast at the best hotel in the city loses to a piece of fruit off a tree in a village so poor the young people have all left. The chief had told me that tree is only dire ghost level, and its fruit grows spirit at more than 3 times the rate of a soup made from a whole dire ghost level beast. Which means the difference isn't grade. There's something else in that tree, and nobody has ever found out what, because nobody has ever been allowed near it. I put my chopsticks down and opened the panel. Strength 52, speed 50, spirit 93, yin power 5,500. 12 points of strength, 10 of speed, 21 of spirit, and 1,000 yin power in the time it takes to eat breakfast. The feeling of getting stronger by ordering is genuinely wonderful. The only downside is that it costs like an addiction, and it's very easy to eat yourself broke. Which isn't a flaw in the dish. That's a flaw in you. Then somebody knocked. Gao Feng leaned in and lowered her voice. Mr. Zhou, that will be the other shareholders. They'll have heard. 2 came in. The first was enormous and covered in stitches, big, coarse, centipede-looking seams running everywhere, as though he'd been taken apart and reassembled by somebody in a hurry. The second was a little girl with a sweet face and an innocent smile, carrying a skull-crusher hammer bigger than she was over one shoulder. Both fierce ghosts. Second largest at 10%, third at 8%. They'd come to look at whoever had bought 52% of their hotel, because when they'd been told a human had done it, they'd wondered whether they were still asleep. That stake is bigger than the owner's. You could say the hotel is his and be correct. They looked me over. Nothing special. Handsome. That's it. May I ask, sir, what instructions have you given us upon your arrival? The big one said, carefully. I won't interfere with internal management, I said. Handle it as you see fit. Then, because I'd been thinking about it since the lobby, as for the position of hotel general manager, it seems to be vacant. I think Manager Chin is quite suitable. She's been doing everything herself all along, and I'm very satisfied with her. Gao Feng's head came around. Because that position had been open for years, and she had wanted it for years, and it had stayed open precisely because two shareholders were doing half of the job badly, and neither wanted to admit the building needed someone above them. Since he is someone the major shareholder values, said the big stitched one, after a glance at the little girl, he must be suitable. Manager Chin, starting today, you are the general manager of Fusheng Hotel. Your annual salary will be increased to 200,000 Netherworld coins, plus 1% of net income as your year-end bonus. That's 250 a year, minimum. 300 in a good one. Roughly double what she'd been making, from one sentence, said by a man who had been in the building for 26 hours. She did not thank me in front of them. She waited and did it later, properly, in a way that made it a transaction between equals, which told me most of what I needed to know about her. Besides this, the big one said, do the major shareholders have any other instructions? I thought about a red river and 3 old men on the bank. There really is one. I found a raw material supplier for Fusheng Hotel. Their Luofu ghost fish is absolutely superb. The deliciousness is unmatched by anything on your menu. I think it can be promoted as a signature dish. The little girl's eyes came up. Is it even tastier than the food here? It is. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. And I have now eaten a 20,000 coin breakfast to confirm it. And the fish exists in exactly one river, in exactly one village, and cannot be found anywhere else. Unique and delicious, and a market monopoly with no competitor. Great, the big one was suddenly enthusiastic. Recently business hasn't been good. High prices, no unique advantage, customers going elsewhere. A signature dish is a timely help. It could restore the brand image. They weren't being kind. Better performance is bigger dividends. Nobody complains about earning too much. Ghosts are no exception. Where is that place? Said the little girl, standing up. I'll go contact the supplier right now. It's a small village called Huangchuan Village. Might be a little hard to find. And I want to be clear about why I said that, because it would be easy to hear it as strategy. That village is, in a real sense, mine now. 3 sons live there, and a great many grandchildren and great-grandchildren I have never met and who have no idea who I am. I told them I would lead them out of poverty, standing on a rock at the village gate in front of everyone, with nothing to back it up. I wasn't joking. I was lying. Those aren't the same thing, and I intended to make the difference disappear. Also, and this is true too, Quest 2 says earn money, and the only way to an S there is to earn an unreasonable amount of it. Huangchuan Village? The big one's brow went up. I think I've heard of it. Supposedly the birthplace of the river god. There's a kind of soul fruit there that's particularly famous, capable of enhancing every physical attribute. Its amplification of yin power far surpasses dire ghost level flesh and blood. I tried to negotiate auction rights for that soul fruit once. I failed. I was kicked out. The village chief there is also a fierce ghost. He paused. After much deliberation, I decided against it. I looked at him with new interest. So the fruit's reputation had already left the village. That tree had been sitting on a hill radiating value for years, and the only reason it hadn't been taken was that the chief was strong enough to make taking it expensive. If he'd been one rung lower, that tree would be gone, and that village would be nothing. Can soul fruit be auctioned? Of course, a ghost fruit with all-around growth attributes is rare. It's the favorite of ghost generals and above. They use it to cultivate their offspring. Extremely hard to find. I smiled at that for a while. Very good. Go to Huangchuan village and give them my name. Say that I sent you. They won't make things difficult for you. Which sounded, to the two of them, extremely mysterious. Because Huangchuan village is no pushover, and you don't impress a fierce ghost by dropping a name. Really. This human has other background information. They left happy. I was happier. Because that conversation had just solved the village's poverty problem, created a monopoly, and pushed my completion rate on Quest 2 into territory that no normal walkthrough reaches, all in one go, and all of it off a fish. That's completion rate handled. That's an S. The rest is achievements. I needed more of those, and achievements come from doing things nobody has done. The days after that ran on rails. Every morning I ate a meal that cost more than a car and watched the numbers climb. Every afternoon, the players carried trays and stared at me. And on the third day, Gaofeng came and found me with news, and I went straight down to the lobby, and this was the part I'd been waiting for. 3 ghosts walked into the best hotel in the city. An old man carrying his own head in both hands, now dire ghost level, which is a full rank up from where I'd found him in a ditch. An old man with gray skin and liver spots in drab clothes, like a tree that had died standing. A bloated water ghost in clothes so red they read black. The temperature in that lobby dropped several degrees at once, and every conversation stopped, because 2 fierce ghosts had come in through the front door together, and nobody knew why. That's what a fierce ghost is worth anywhere. Disagree with one, and it might kill you, and nobody will stand up for you. Limb-missing Elder had gone from demon to devil in under a week. That's my doing. And also his luck. If he hadn't been the first thing to come out of the weeds, if he hadn't tested the cheat for me, I'd never have gotten that SS. And in exchange, he stopped being an outcast living in a ditch and became a fierce ghost's brother with a family and a share of the food. All 3 of them saw me at once, and all 3 of them lit up, and all 3 of them nearly shouted the word. I stayed them a look. They caught it, choked, and course-corrected in unison. Young master! I want to explain how badly that landed. Because they'd been warned, Dad has enemies, Dad can't reveal his identity. If you call him father in public, somebody with an interest will start pulling on that thread. So they said, young master. The 2 fierce ghosts everyone in that lobby was afraid of addressed a human with deference. And not polite deference, the other kind. The kind that sounds, to anyone listening, exactly like a son talking to his father. Could it be that these 3 ghosts are part of the forces behind this human? Across the room, my 2 minority shareholders exchanged one look and arrived, jointly, at a conclusion. Zhou Wei is the spokesperson for some ghost king. I took them to a table, and they sat down like 3 farmers in a bank, because they were. Fierce ghosts, yes. Also 3 old men who'd lived in the same village for a century and never seen a building with a chandelier. They perched on the edges of the chairs and didn't touch anything. I picked up the menu. This, and this. Stir-fried potato slices, 88. Minced meat and vermicelli, 188. Big flatbread strips, 188. Vegetable soup, 88. Steamed bok choy, a few more like it, 8 dishes, a little over 1,000 netherworld coins. And I watched my eldest son's face fall, because that's too expensive. That's insane money for home cooking. Where has he ever eaten 1,000 coins of vegetables? Dad, he leaned in and lowered his voice, mortified. This is too wasteful. You've already ordered 8 dishes. We can't possibly finish them all. The other 2 nodded hard. We're your children, not guests. 2 or 3 dishes will do. Honestly, the best thing would be something filling, cornbread, naan, something you don't feel bad about eating a lot of. I looked at him strangely. What are you talking about? Who said these were the things I wanted to order? That's good. And you could see the relief go through all 3 of them. I don't want any of the ones listed above, I said to the waiter, putting the menu down. Bring everything else out, quickly. Tell the chef I'm entertaining guests. Huangchuan village chief. Bloated river spirit. Limb-missing elder. Holy crap. So all the ones you picked out before were the things you didn't want? Too shabby? Dad, was your standard of living this high before? How much money would that cost? You're making us look like country bumpkins who've never seen the world. We have disgraced you. 2 tables. It took 2 tables. The lobby filled with the smell of it, and a dog outside put its head against the window and would not stop. They didn't move until I told them to. Eat up. This is what we've prepared for you. They went through it like a weather event. and I sat there and watched 3 dead men eat the best meal of their lives, and their yin power climbing while they did it, and I felt something I want to be honest about because it doesn't fit the rest of this story. I have not had a family dinner since my parents died. I have eaten alone in that apartment for a year, except when the woman across the hall takes pity on me. And here I was at the head of a table with 3 people who thought I was theirs, feeding them until they couldn't move, and the fact that all 3 of them were dead and none of it was true did not seem to matter to my chest at all. Afterwards, the chief remembered the important thing and hauled a burlap sack onto the table. Soul fruit. More than a dozen. Father, I heard you need soul fruit for the auction, so I specially picked more than a dozen. I don't know if that's enough. And me, bloated river spirit, not to be outdone. I heard you need luofu ghostfish to open up the market, so I went out and caught several hundred. If that's not enough, I'll catch more. Several hundred. They said it like men presenting homework, hoping it was right. So I told them the plan. A cement road from the village to the city, an ancestral hall, rebuild the housing, every household with a good house and a good vehicle. Annual dividends to the village so that the young people don't have to leave to find work. And the number, because you have to give people a number. 1 million coin village within 5 years. Every household averaging 1 million netherworld coins. The 3 of them sat there with their mouths open. It felt like a huge pancake had appeared in front of them, and all they had to do was reach out. Father, Limb Missing Elder's eyes were wet, and he's the one who'd had nothing at all. Will such a day really come? There will be bread, I said. There will be milk. There will be everything. Great, Father. I'm entrusting everything to you. We will mobilize the entire village to work toward this. And the light that came on behind the chief's eyes was, frankly, alarming. I got them rooms upstairs. Then I got the 2 minority shareholders in a room and we signed the actual contract, which is the part nobody remembers, but which is the only part that matters. Plongchuan Village becomes the sole supplier of luofu ghostfish. Fusheng Hotel buys the raw material, and on top of the purchase price, the village receives 3% of gross sales revenue on the fish annually in perpetuity. I want to be honest about that contract. Anywhere else, that's a large company being bullied. 3% of gross to a supplier is not a normal term. But it was a seller's market with exactly 1 seller, and the man negotiating on the buyer's side owned 52% of the buyer. The contract took effect. Fusheng Hotel put its full weight behind it, and inside 2 days, the fish was the signature dish, and the room started filling up again, and business began, visibly, to turn. And on the 7th day, on the morning of the auction, I looked at a platinum card with 600,000 left on it and got ready to smile crooked. They filled the largest hall in the building, thousands of ghosts brought in by staff, with the players walking ahead of them with their heads down and their eyes on the carpet, because a short-tempered guest is a mortality event. And in the middle of all of it, 1 human, walking in like he'd paid for the floor. Humans, this is not a place for you. Ghost in a suit and tie, glasses, human style, looking at me with open disgust. You should be like those waiters, bowing your heads and serving us, instead of thinking about things that don't belong to you. Waiter! Kick him out, or I won't participate. And the crowd started to pick it up, because a crowd will. Shut up! Huangtren village chief came through them like a plow. Who do you think you are, daring to make our young master leave? Hee hee, bloated river spirit had gotten in front of a tire wraith from the other side, close enough to loom. How about I, this old man, give you a try and see whether you're qualified to stay here? And Limb Missing Elder raised the head in his hands so it could look a tire wraith in the face, and made it smile because he wanted his father to see how far he'd come. 3 ghosts let their yin power up at once. A tire wraith's face went white and then red, and his pupils shrank because he had just discovered that the human had 2 fierce ghosts standing over him. When did fierce ghosts become so worthless that they'd protect a human? He could not back down and he could not go forward, and so he did the only remaining thing, which was to walk into the auction hall very quickly without speaking. Pah, coward. If this kind of person lived in our village, he wouldn't be able to make a living. Don't underestimate beggars. Beggars can be quite perceptive. They did not lower their voices, even slightly. He heard every word. He kept walking with his fists closed because he didn't dare let anyone see his face. The crowd drew a conclusion and filed it. Don't touch that human. 3 ghost bodyguards. That's not something just anyone has. I only glanced at it. We have material for the crooked mouth. Honestly, this cheat and this world are a perfect fit. As long as I'm human, everywhere I go, someone will hand me an opportunity to be humiliated. It's an inexhaustible resource. Mr. Zhou, what are you doing over there? Gao Fong, arriving. She was running the entire auction that day, which is the biggest event on her calendar and the first one she'd run as general manager, and she'd left it to come and find me. Queuing. She put a hand over her eyes. Mr. Zhou, given your status, you shouldn't be sitting in the hall. We've prepared VIP box number 1. I'll take you there right away. And she took my hand and walked me past the entire line, which the line noticed. I don't know what right a human has to cut in front. Is this abusing special privileges? Has Fusheng Hotel lost its mind? Instead of pleasing us, they're pleasing a human? And then Mummy Ghost, who'd had the privilege of actually meeting me, shared a fact with his neighbors. Brother Joe is a platinum member of Fusheng Hotel. The line went quiet and stayed quiet. Because a platinum card is 1,000,000 Netherworld coins on deposit, and not one wrathful ghost in that queue had ever seen that much money, and neither had most of the fierce ghosts. A tire wraith further up the line looked worse than before, and took out a communication device and reported something to somebody. He was not the only one who did that. I noticed. I filed it. Then the auction started, and I want to describe the next hour honestly, because it's the single most obnoxious thing I have ever done, and I enjoyed all of it. Item 1. A bottle of black pills, 12 of them. Return Yin Pill. Restores depleted Yin power quickly. Perfect condition, 100% restoration, no impurities. Suitable for those below fierce ghost level. Starting bid 10,000. Now, to a ghost, that's a stupid product. Ghosts regenerate Yin power on their own. Spending thousands to speed that up is a rich man's indulgence. To me, it was ammunition. Because the drum eats 5,000 Yin power per lightning strike, and I only carry so much. And a bottle of these turns one shot into several. 30,000 Netherworld coins. The room made a noise. Damn it. We all thought 10,000 for 12 was too expensive and were prepared to bid 300 or 500 over. You went and tripled it. That's 2,500 a pill. Who bids like that? Even if you have money, you shouldn't spend it like this. This is pure mischief. Item 2. A bracelet of bone, 3 demon heads strung together. Evil Spirit Bracelet. Mid-grade 3rd-tier defensive Yin weapon. Can withstand a full-force attack from a fierce ghost, with considerable defense against mental attacks. Starting bid 100,000. That's a high-level item and one of the best of its class, and it's the exact thing I'd been missing. I had a drum that kills and nothing at all that keeps me alive. Each bid cannot be lower than 1,000. 300,000. Host. Players. Ghosts. Can you slow down a bit and let us feel a little involved? Damn it. Does having money make you superior? I shrugged at the room, and what I meant by it was, today's auction will be entirely won by young Master Joe. They didn't fight me. Not yet. They had a theory, and the theory was that the human would blow his million early on junk and eliminate himself. Many of them also decided, in an entirely AQ way, that I was a nouveau riche who'd never seen quality and was overpaying for garbage. There's nothing to fear from a man like that. So items 3, 4, and 5, 2 Yin materials for refining pills and 1 ore for forging weapons, went to me at 50, 80, and 160,000 in silence, and that emptied the card. I did the math. This human has spent a total of 600,000 from the beginning until now. Hiss, damn rich people. I'm getting jealous. Who's going to snipe this human? He's bought every item in the first 5 rounds. If word gets out, what becomes of our reputation? Don't panic. Someone's calculated it. He's spent nearly 1 million since checking in. His platinum card is empty. The next round is where it starts. Item 6. A blue bead breathing out cold mist, and the mist moved like it was alive. The Heavenly Nether Pearl. Top grade, 1st-tier auxiliary Yin weapon. Within the range of the mist, the wearer's Yin power increases. Mental power also improves slowly. Worn long enough, your Yin power gains an ice property that can slow and freeze enemies. Starting bid 300,000. The hall came alive. Because that's the dream. That's a thing that makes you stronger while you sleep. No ghost alive can look at that and not want it. 350,000. 400,000. 450,000. 600,000. That was Mummy Ghost, and adding 150 in one jump is a man telling the room he intends to win. Hesitation everywhere. That's a top-grade 1st-tier weapon. It is not objectively worth this. It's being bid up purely because it's passive growth. 700,000. Cold voice. Everyone looked. A tire wraith. The one who'd tried to have me thrown out and gotten mocked by 3 old ghosts for it. And he had completely changed posture, chin up, looking down the room at everyone in it. 730,000. Mummy Ghost, one last try. 800,000. Attire Wraith scoffed, chin higher, looking at people through his nostrils. If you're going to raise, be bold. Don't do it in little pieces. If you can't afford it, don't play the game. Mummy Ghost went quiet. His ceiling was 750. He thought he was safe because I'd promised to go easy on him, and then a stranger had walked into the middle of it and outbid him anyway. He gave up. He was extremely depressed about it. Attire Wraith turned and looked directly at my box with a provocation on his face. I let his moment go on a while. 1 million. The room came apart. What's going on? It's that human again. Didn't they say he was broke? Why is he asking 1 million now? Damn, how much money does he actually have? I thought he didn't bid because he was out. It turns out he was holding back a big move. If your Fusheng Hotel didn't intend to auction this weapon, don't put it out, Attire Wraith was shouting at the auctioneer now. What kind of business is it to put something out and have it auctioned back? Then, at me, I don't believe he can come up with another million, and half the hall agreed with him. Nobody spends 2 million on an afternoon. It's a fake. It has to be. Human, if you're so capable, put up one. 6 million Netherworld coins. Otherwise, I don't believe you have 1 million left to bid. Verification of funds, he wanted. I smiled crooked. I think this flavor is just right. Ding! A face-slapping plot has been triggered. Congratulations, host. You have obtained a Netherworld Bank Black Card. Netherworld Bank Black Card. Savings of 10 million Netherworld coins. Last time, it made a 1 million coin hotel card. This time, because the amounts in the room had gone above 1 million, it made a bank card with 10 million sitting in it. What we wanted was a complete domination. Otherwise, how could he be called Crooked Mouth Dragon King? I stood up. I walked out of the box to the rail, and I took out a black card with the Gates of Hell printed on it and threw it down onto the auction stage. I'll take all the items up for auction today, I said. The money will be deducted from this card. Silence. Holy crap, you have quite the nerve to talk big. You didn't brush your teeth this morning, did you? Can your personal liquid assets possibly be higher than the combined total of everyone present? Then Mummy Ghost, who had been very quiet, said uncertainly, could this card be a black card from Netherworld Bank? A black card? Netherworld Bank has a black card? What kind of card is that? Hiss. If I remember correctly, the basic requirement for a Netherworld Bank black card is tens of millions in savings. And that landed in every skull at once. Tens of millions. This human is carrying more than 11 million in liquid funds. Emma. All things considered, this human's funds actually seem to be more than every ghost in this room combined. To say that one is contracting out the auction venue is not arrogance. It's not confidence. It's self-confidence. And I watched every restless, mocking, doubting thing in that room go out, all at once, in front of one cold piece of plastic. For the first time, those ghosts felt fear toward money. After that, it stopped being an auction and became shopping. Blood-stained rope, mid-grade third-tier restraint, impossible for anyone below Fierce Ghost to break. 200,000. 500,000. Zhuanyin Ghost Gold, rare ore for forging supreme-grade artifacts. 500,000. 1 million. Coffin nails, superior second-tier offensive, infused with yin power, they sear, 4 of them bundled. 1 million. 2 million. The 5 players stood at the back with their jaws open. Damn it, you're using a cheat that modifies the value of Netherworld coins, aren't you? We're carefully serving these ghosts, trying to earn 1,000, and you're throwing away hundreds of thousands. Does the money feel like a hot potato in your hands? Brother Joe is so amazing. The student girl had her chin in both hands and the eyes of a person at a concert. He single-handedly overwhelmed everyone else. We're all players, but Brother Joe is just too good. Striped suit. I suspect you're tagging me. The middle-aged man in the suit had gone philosophical. As expected of the immortal lord of 10,000 laws. I'm a veteran of 3 games, and I am completely convinced. The big man. I am not as good as him. Perhaps, just like his ID says, he is a god. Even the most arrogant player in that hall had to admit the thing none of them wanted to say out loud, which is that money can buy anything. Last item. A ring. Bone. Luminous white like the best jade, with a blood-red pattern spreading across a third of it like a stain in water. This final item is not a yin weapon. It's an ordinary bone ring. However, this ring was once the token of love of the famous Scarlet Queen. It symbolizes her most beautiful love. She will bless the woman who receives this ring with eternal happiness. Price, 1 Netherworld coin. I raised an eyebrow. I'd assumed the finale would be a weapon. It's a keepsake. Its whole value is whose it was. Mr. Zhou, Gao Feng quietly, seeing my confusion. The Scarlet Queen is a Ghost King level being. Ah, so it's a souvenir whose collectible value outweighs its practical value, and buying it means being adjacent to a Ghost King, but that's all it means. 1 million. A group of ghosts. Their mouths went sideways in unison. You're really not giving others a chance to compete. From the floor, a female ghost called up. Young master, that bone ring can only be worn by women. It's useless for you. Why not give it to me? I looked down at her and smiled. Who says I can only wear it myself after I buy it? There just happens to be the perfect person around me to wear it. And every eye in that hall went to Gao Feng, standing at my shoulder in her cheongsam with a clipboard. They know her. She is one of the reasons half of them eat here, and she has never once, in anyone's memory, been interested in any man who tried, and a great many have tried. So the room settled in happily to watch a human get destroyed. Money doesn't buy a goddess. He's going to find that out in front of everyone. Gao Feng looked at the ring, then at me, then at the several hundred faces waiting for her to say no. And she started laughing. Not politely, properly, with her hand over her mouth, in the middle of the biggest event of her professional life. Mr. Zhou, she said, when she could, you've just spent 1 million Netherworld coins to make a point at a room. I've spent 1 million Netherworld coins on a colleague who ran this entire auction while I sat in a box being obnoxious, I said. Take the ring, Manager Chin. Nobody in this building has earned it more. And she took it, and put it on, and turned her hand over to look at it, and then went straight back to running the event, because there were 11 items left, and she is extremely good at her job. Ghosts! Envy went through that hall like weather. I'd like to record that the thing which actually enraged them was not the money. It was that she'd laughed. The auction ended. Everyone else filed toward the exit. I went backstage, where the auctioneer returned my black card with both hands and a smile that never once slipped, because I had just bought his entire event and also owned half his employer. Mr. Zhou, you have purchased a total of 15 items today, including the evil spirit bracelet, the heavenly nether pearl, the blood-stained rope, the coffin nails, elixirs to restore yin power, and a large quantity of crafting materials. Total, 4.7 million Netherworld coins. A total of 18 Huangchuan soul fruits, provided by Mr. Zhou, were sold for a total of 5 million Netherworld coins. After deducting the relevant fees, 100,000 Netherworld coins have been transferred to your black card. I stood there and worked through that twice. I had bought every item in the auction. I had also supplied the last lot in the auction. Because I'd had the chief's burlap sack put in at the end, after every other item was gone, when the entire room had spent an hour losing to a human and had money burning holes in them and nothing left to spend it on. They bid soul fruit from 100,000 up to 300,000 apiece, out of spite, at me, while I sat there and didn't bid. 18 fruit, 5 million Netherworld coins. I had gone into that auction with 1 million and come out with all 15 items, 10 million untouched in the bank, and 100,000 in profit. It's amazing that this money can keep increasing as you spend it. Somewhere out in the corridor, 2 ghosts were talking, and a tire wraith who had bought 3 soul fruits for 1 million total, exhausting everything his organization had given him, and had spent the last 10 minutes feeling like the winner of something, heard this. That's so cunning. That human put his own things up last. Since the other guests didn't get anything all night, they could only grab the final item, which created a huge premium. He made a fortune. A tire wraith. He stopped walking. What do you mean by that? Isn't the last item the property of the major shareholder of Fusheng Hotel? It's you. You didn't know, did you? He is the major shareholder, and he's the one who brought out the soul fruit. Otherwise, why do you think he didn't bid? I'm told he stood in that corridor for some time. I was still enjoying that when the host came back in. Mr. Zhou, the second and third shareholders are looking for you. They say the boss is back and wants to see you. I found them outside the office, and they were both grim. What happened? Did you have a conflict with the hotel owner? He wants to take back our shares. He's trying to sell Fusheng Hotel. Why? Hasn't the situation improved? The boss thinks it's temporary. He wants to use the current peak value to sell at a premium and run with the money. He can't get a response from us, so he came to you. If he can buy back more than 20%, he can forcibly mortgage the hotel. Brother Zhou, the little girl added, the boss is serious this time. When you go in, don't object forcefully. Stall him. Otherwise, the hot-tempered boss might do anything. I understood him perfectly, honestly. If you think the market's about to turn, sell at the top and walk. That's not stupid, that's correct. He just happened to want to do it to the thing I'd spent a week building a village's future on. Don't worry, I'll go and talk to him. Inside, a ghost with a goatee and a single black horn coming out of his forehead was flipping through business reports and not enjoying them. He looked up. You must be Mr. Joe, the one who acquired 52%. I won't beat around the bush. Name your price. I'll buy all 52% at market. He had, I could tell, read the whole file on me, the check-in, the auction, all of it, and he had come out of it genuinely uneasy. He'd concluded I wasn't here to spend money. He'd concluded I was here for something, and he hadn't found out what. What if I don't sell? Human, I don't care what your purpose is in coming here, but this is a company I founded, and I have the right to make decisions. Even if you disagree, I have ways to mortgage it. At that time, Fusheng Hotel's market value will plummet, and the shares you hold will become worth less and less. By then, it will be too late to regret it. And he meant it. That's a man who built a company worth tens of millions from nothing. He was wary of me, and he was going to do it anyway. Waste, I said. What did you say? I said you're a piece of trash. Did you hear me? You're asking for it. Fierce ghost yin power came up off him, and his goatee stood on end. Which is, of course, exactly what I needed. Because the requirement is deterrence, and deterrence means the target has to be completely on the front foot, and there is no faster way to get a man there than to insult him in his own office. I smiled crooked. Ding! You meet the requirements for the face-slapping event. The skill, I am your father, has been upgraded to level 3. I am your father, level 3. When deterrence reaches 60, shouting the phrase will make the designated target voluntarily become your father's, your son. Joe Wei. I hadn't expected that at all. The crooked mouth didn't hand me an item this time. It went and upgraded my other cheat, because the primary means of slapping this particular target's face was, in fact, adoption. You don't believe me when I call you trash? Open your dog eyes and look carefully. I am your father. You don't even recognize me. So what if I call you trash? Drifting World Innkeeper. He stopped mid-eruption. He looked at me. He kept looking. The longer he looked, the more familiar I got. Then the fury slid off his face and was replaced by acute embarrassment, and he laughed awkwardly. Father, it's you. I'm a good-for-nothing. I'm a good-for-nothing. I didn't even recognize you, father. I put my hands behind my back and used the voice. I heard you're going to sell Fusheng Hotel, and you want my shares too? No way. Done. Another great son has arrived. Will he really end up with descendants all over the netherworld? The scene was absurd to even think about. Outside, the two shareholders had been listening to nothing for a worryingly long time. There's been no news for so long. Could something have happened to Brother Zhou? Impossible. The boss is short-tempered, not mentally unstable. Brother Zhou clearly has someone behind him. Even if the boss is confused, he wouldn't move on his own business. No, I can't rest easy. And the little girl pushed the door open. Her hammer hit the floor. Brutal muscle came through after her at speed, expecting a body. What he found was me in the boss's chair with my legs crossed, and the founder of the company kneeling on the carpet, reflecting. He was stunned. Holy crap. Boss, why are you kneeling on the ground? Even if Brother Zhou really has a closet king behind him, you don't need to grovel to this extent. This is absolutely shameless. Anyone who didn't know better would think you'd been scared out of your wits. Brother Zhou, what's going on? Also, boss, the ground is cold. Get up quickly. We can discuss this properly. He got both hands under his own employer and tried to lift him, and it did not work, because the man was not going to get up until I said so, and he looked at me with a small, hopeful face that said, "Can I get up now?" Get up. He shot to his feet, delighted, and immediately went and brewed me a very strong cup of tea and put it in my hands, suppressing with visible effort the urge to call me father in front of witnesses. Please try this. The two shareholders' worldviews came apart on the spot. One day, a grumpy boss found himself fawning over a human, not only with a constant smile, but acting like a lackey. This is so dreamy. It's like a dream. What just happened? Could Zhou Wei's background be even more powerful than they imagined? Drinking soul tea. Spirit +5. Yin power +200. Oh, that's good tea. Sit down, I said. It's perfect that you're here. Let's hear why he wants to sell Fusheng Hotel. Both of them sat bolt upright. Brutal Muscle started to offer his own chair to his boss, and I stopped him. He can stand. Standing is good, the boss said instantly. Standing is good. It's good for your health. Two major shareholders. Emma. Boss, you really have no backbone. If you didn't know better, you'd think someone was disciplining their son, since he's so obedient. And then the boss explained, and the room stopped being funny. I received information that the Netherworld is about to undergo a huge change. Many Ghost King-level forces have begun to set up positions closer to the outer areas. If we don't sell now, once those forces arrive, even if we want to sell, the price will be driven down to nothing. We might go bankrupt. The two shareholders sat back. Because that's not cowardice. That's a man who heard something and moved. In the Netherworld, the strong eat the weak, and that applies to business as much as anything. When Ghost King level forces arrive, companies get bought or broken. It happens constantly. And both of them, without meaning to, looked at me, because they were now certain I was one of those forces' spokesmen, and that acquiring this hotel had been a strategic move in a war they couldn't see. I kept my face completely still. You just need to maintain the status quo, I said. Leave the rest to me. Fusheng Hotel will never change hands. I've said it, and even Jesus can't change it. They relaxed. They chatted a while, and went off to run a hotel with total peace of mind. I sat in that office afterwards with a cup of soul tea going cold, and thought about the actual content of what I'd just been told, which is that something is coming, and it is bigger than anything in this city, and I had just promised 2 people I could stop it. I have 3 cheats and a drum. That's the entire basis of the promise. The boss still had reservations, which I could see, so I summoned my 3 eldest sons and let the 4 of them meet. They cried on contact. 3 brothers became 4. Limb-missing elder went from second oldest to third and took it well. Second brother, said Huangquan village chief, in the mysterious tone of a man sharing state secrets. Don't underestimate your father. His past identity was not simple. He is slowly regaining his strength, and he's been planning this for a long time. Otherwise, how could he have a black card from Netherworld Bank? What you see now is just the tip of the iceberg. Second brother. Limb-missing elder nodding gravely. The 3-year period has come to an end. Father has awakened and returned to the Pure Land. He is determined to take back everything he once lost. It is our blessing to be his sons. The 3 of them boasted for about 20 minutes and constructed, out of absolutely nothing, the image of a returning Dragon King with 100,000 soldiers behind him. The Drifting World innkeeper listened to all of it and went completely dizzy. I did not correct one word. On the way out, I ran into the 5 players, finishing their last shift. Immortal Lord Wan Fa, the man in the suit meant it. Thank you for stepping in to help the student girl. It deterred the hotel staff and stopped them causing us trouble, which let us spend 7 days in peace. The big man. We're the veterans, and we were carried by a newbie. Honestly, it's embarrassing, but I hope there's another chance to team up. Striped Suit gave me a thumbs up. You're awesome, and the student girl, with wet eyes. Brother Joe, will I ever have a chance to see you again? If it weren't for you, I'd probably be dead. Can you give me your contact information so I can repay you in real life? The other 4 pretended not to care, and their ears went up like radar dishes, because that's contact details for the immortal lord of 10,000 laws, and no amount of money buys that. If we are destined to meet, I said, we will meet again, and I left. I want to explain that because it looked like arrogance, and it wasn't. Pure Land has a mechanism that fogs your memory of other players' faces when you leave a dungeon. That is not a decorative feature. It exists because if grudges inside dungeons could follow people home, players would start killing each other for items and eliminating the weak early, and the player count would collapse. Give one person my details, and I've put a hole in the only wall keeping that from happening. So I didn't. Behind me, the student girl looked like an abandoned woman in an opera. She'd been about to offer to pay me and had not gotten to say it. I've helped you a lot too, Striped Suit said. Why don't you want to repay me? Brother, she said without hesitating, I have no way to repay you, so I can only be your servant in the next life. At midnight, the countdown hit 0. Ding! Congratulations, player. You have successfully completed the A-rank dungeon quest. The dungeon let me go. Host detected leaving the copy. Crooked Mouth Dragon King has passed testing and is now available on the official server. Crooked Mouth Dragon King, level 1. When you give a wicked, crooked smile, your existing attributes, skills, items, and level increase by 1. You may actively choose the corresponding ability. Duration, 10 minutes. Effective condition, triggering a face-slapping event. So they nerfed that one too. No more creating things out of nothing. Now it amplifies what I already have, and it's on a timer. Which, fine. Honestly, unconditional +1 level is still absurd. Upgrade I Am Your Father by 1, and the deterrence requirement drops another 10. Upgrade the Thunder God drum by 1, and an epic item becomes legendary, for 10 minutes, whenever anybody insults me. And the cheat itself can be leveled. Max it out, and it goes back to the test server version eventually. I opened my eyes in my apartment. Fusheng Hotel walkthrough complete. Completion time 168 hours. Rating A. Strategy progress 100%. Waitress, platinum member, major shareholder, boss's father. Rating S. Achievements unlocked 8. Rating S. Born to be a dad, legendary. You've once again become the biological father of the drifting world innkeeper in an unbelievable way. Are you the legendary innate overlord, or the father of all heavens? The Pure Land issues you a stern warning, don't come near me, I don't want another digital dad. Starting from scratch, epic. Yes, you read that right. You're only one word away from starting from nothing. Using Fusheng Hotel as a platform, you earned your first pot of gold. Financial data as follows. 500,000 in Luofu Ghostfish sales, plus 5 million from 18 soul fruits. The successor to the human emperor, epic. Killing ghosts is one thing, but you also have to mess with their mentality, collect their resentment, and turn it into a demonic accomplice, preventing them from ever being reborn. To be honest, your actions are more demonic than any ghosts. Compared to you, ghosts seem much more innocent. The Pure Land wonders, could you be a reincarnated 100,000-year-old ghost? Millionaire, rare. Don't get me wrong, this is worth an epic achievement, but I only gave you rare. You should reflect on why. The Pure Land can't trace the source of your millions of Netherworld coins, so it doesn't count. I laughed at that one out loud in an empty room at midnight. Final evaluation, SS. Netherworld coins, 650,000. Note, 500,000 Luofu Ghostfish sales revenue, 100,000 remaining auction funds, 50,000 settlement bonus. Attribute points, 5. Random item box times 2, Mithril. Twin Pact, rare. Perfect level ghost contract, epic. Mei Neng soul point, legendary. And under all of it, quietly, the thing that mattered. Player level increased, 1 to 5. Netherworld coins, 10,650,000. I sat on my own floor at midnight, in a one-bedroom apartment above a funeral shop that was 3 months from closing, holding a phone with 100,000 real yuan in the bank account and a game panel with 10.5 million in it. I'm probably the only person alive with more Netherworld coins than real ones. I need to think about how to make money, because I don't want to sell my parents' shop. That's the whole thing. Everything else is noise. I spent a soul point on I Am Your Father, level 4, deterrence, 50. And then tried to spend the second one and got told I didn't have enough. Which makes sense when you think about it. 8 points takes a cheat back to being a law of nature. That's not supposed to be cheap. So I put the last one into Crooked Mouth Dragon King instead, level 2. 2 things get +1 instead of 1 thing. Then I opened the 2 mithril boxes. Beginner Riding Skill, level 1. Increases stamina and greatly boosts a man's confidence. Note, feeling weak and powerless in middle age? Most likely due to unstable lower body. Zhou Wei. It seems useless, yet it also seems incredibly useful. At least it's a skill. That's what I told myself. Lucky Coin, rare. A life-saving coin from the legendary Twin Eagle Emperor. Its use is simple. When in danger, take out the coin and gamble with the enemy. Whoever loses, loses $1. Winning a coin averts an enemy attack. Losing simply means bad luck. Note, if you're not lucky, it's best not to try this. I turned that one over in my fingers for a long time. A coin that stops an attack if you win the toss, and nothing at all if you don't. I put it in my pocket, where it stayed for a week, and where it eventually saved my life, in a room with a crossbow pointed at my face, but that's a long way from here yet. Meanwhile, on the forum, the banner went up for the second time, and the reaction was worse. Holy crap, another SS? And it's that newbie again. Wait, is he a big shot? This is like a heifer sprouting wings. We haven't managed a single A-level rating, and someone's already got 2 SS. Damn it, my conjunctivitis is flaring up again. Ding, 3 new cases of conjunctivitis reported in Lantau Island. Ding, 1 new case in Pudong. They found the Fusheng Hotel leaderboard. My name at the top in pale gold, 100% completion. Second place, Sima Wenlong, 38%. Third place and below, 10% at best. And Sima Wenlong, to his credit, came and explained himself in public. Thanks for the invitation. Fusheng Hotel is the most difficult instance I've experienced. Survive 7 days and earn 1,000 coins, plus a career advancement path that raises your settlement. In this instance, I bribed the supervisor to become a full-fledged waiter, then worked the VIP lounge for 7 days. During that time, I helped the hotel resolve 3 difficult customers and earned 3,000 Netherworld coins. That's how I achieved 38%. 100% completion? I really can't imagine it. Maybe it requires becoming a manager within 7 days and earning more than 10,000. And the thread went quiet, because becoming permanent staff and earning 3,000 in a week was, until that moment, the best anyone had ever done in that building, and it was 38%. People are afraid of comparison. Before the comparison, 38% was unreachable. After it, it's garbage data. And they weren't even at garbage. Then Striped Suit, who had spent 7 days watching all of it and had gone home determined to tell the world, posted the truth. Shocking. The immortal lord of 10,000 laws did this in the Fusheng Hotel instance. Ate 20,000 Netherworld coins in 1 meal. Spent 40,000 to stay in the presidential suite for 7 days. Became a Fusheng Hotel member. Became the major shareholder of Fusheng Hotel. With epic-level items in hand, one-shot a dire ghost-level ghost. Bought all the items at the auction, spending nearly 5 million Netherworld coins. Everyone read it. Everyone went silent. And then, everyone decided he was insane. This isn't recording events. This is pure fantasy. 20,000 on a meal? 40,000 on a suite? You think you can just burn coins? If the first 2 are barely explicable, the last 4 are bragging. Hotel member, major shareholder. Why don't you just say Fusheng Hotel is owned by his family? Epic level items? For a new player? 5 million Netherworld coins. Haha. Anyone who believes that is a fool. If the identification is Shenjin, at least make it sound plausible. I remember this guy. He's a rich second generation in real life. He posts pictures of cars and villas. Let's disperse. In a villa across the city, Striped Suit came apart. He was telling the truth. He had been in the room. He had watched a dire ghost-level ghost get executed over a plate. He couldn't remember my face anymore. The fog had taken that. But he remembered every single thing that happened. And he remembered the general manager of a 5-star hotel calling a human Mr. Joe. Nobody believed one word. His phone rang. What are you posting on the forum? I have indeed met the immortal lord of 10,000 laws, he said, aggrieved. I know his surname is Joe. He's called Mr. Joe by the general manager of Fusheng Hotel, and the 2 small shareholders call him Brother Joe. Oh right, he also has 2 fierce ghosts, one of whom calls him Young Master Joe. Long silence on the line. I've contacted the most professional neurosurgeon. I'll go get checked out later. Striped Suit. Grass. He wasn't just imagining things. It's just a bit outrageous, isn't it? These people have such a low tolerance level. 4 other players backed him up in the replies. They were drowned out entirely. And I read all of it and was delighted and closed the forum. And that would have been the end of a very good week. Except that Wu Kong read it too. We narrow the search to people with the surname Joe, he told his investigator. Team Joe, you believe that post? I don't believe it. It's too bizarre. But it's probably true that he entered the same instance. There are comments below mentioning Mr. Joe, so that part is probably real. Then he did something that would matter enormously, and that he had no way of knowing would matter. Also, in an official capacity, release some basic information about the Pure Land, especially about 3-dimensional attributes and game items. Newcomers must be made aware that normal humans are vulnerable in front of a ghost controller. And if you want to experiment with effects, don't use people as test subjects. And so, a very helpful official post went up, titled Survival Manual for Newcomers to Pure Land, containing, among many other things, a detailed table of what strength scores actually mean. 10 points is a normal human maximum. A punch of 100 to 150 kilograms. 20 points, over 300 kilos, enough to make a boulder tremble. 30, you can leave a mark on a boulder. 40, break a corner off. 50, a dent several centimeters deep. 80 and above, one punch shatters half a boulder. 100, smash it. Players above 10 can experiment on boulders themselves. I read that and became extremely interested, because I had never once found out what I actually was. I'd been eating and watching a number go up with no idea what the number meant.